It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott's here, Richard Campbell. There's a Windows update that actually adds a bunch of new features. Paul will talk about that. Microsoft releases an AI security model with a great name. And we'll puzzle over Amazon's interesting numbers. There's something wrong here. Anyway, stay tuned. You'll find out about that next on Windows Weekly.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell. Episode 983, recorded Wednesday, May 13th, 2026. Puts the buh in Benelux. It's time for Windows Weekly. Hello, all you winners and dozers. Time to wake up and say hello. Smell the Polly. No,
damn enchiladas.
It smells good in taco territory. That is Paul Thurrott, Thurrott.com. He is in Mexico City for the last week.
For a couple of months.
And also Mr. Richard Campbell. It's always fun. Where in the world is Ricardo Campbell? He is in where? The Low Countries.
Antwerp. We're in Antwerp.
Yeah. That's where all the diamonds are, right?
Yeah, but it used to be that way, but not so much anymore.
The Diamond Mart. Not anymore? Not so much anymore?
Yeah.
That's where they'd all go and get their diamonds, raw cut diamonds. Then bring them back to New York City and sell them.
Okay.
Well, enough history.
Don't worry, I'm going to do plenty.
Oh, yeah, let's not forget.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of this is technically history.
The debate rages in the Twit forums at twit.community over the whiskey segment. Some say just stop listening. Others say yes, but then Paul says something clever at the end, and we don't want to miss that.
That one still blows me away because I feel like that's pretty rare.
It never happens.
Yeah,
it never happens. Well, it might happen 4 times a year.
Clever is the wrong word. It's like bizarre segue. Some kind of random.
You stick something in.
Yeah.
Usually, 4 times a year we get the last minute Microsoft earnings. Sometimes that happens, but that's only.
It's problematic.
I mean, everyone's podcast player has a little fast forward thing, right? I mean,
and we're working on chapters. I know everybody wants chapters. That'll help.
You can't please. The problem is, like, imagine if we just unilaterally said,
give it up if you want.
No, nobody wants
problem.
that. No. That's ridiculous.
I like the whiskey segment, and I don't care.
Right. The second we get rid of it, we're going to hear from many people who are like, what the hell just happened? Like, I look forward to this.
And the history of it is, of course, Mary Jo Foley used to do beer.
Right.
Did she always do beer?
From like day one, you mean?
Yeah. I feel like she did. She was a beer drinker.
I bet she did because I'd have to go back and look at the notes, which means I'd have to open one note, which means I'll never do it. But I feel like what you call the back of the book has been there. It feels like forever.
Oh yeah, I think we've always had
a long time. Yeah.
So I think so.
I told the story the other day of coming up to Penaluna after the Build event and being a good, guest and bringing a couple of bottles of whiskey, and then you went and opened them on the air.
That was the mistake I made.
And straight to the cast strength. And I'm like, this is not a good idea.
Yeah. Leo and I were
fighting over the
bottle like 2 golems, like with my precious.
I think you said something pithy like, I believe I've been shot in my tongue.
Yes, that's exactly what he said. What do you think? And I said, I think I just got shot in my tongue.
That's funny. That's a good line.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like burned a hole right through my tongue.
Abunda.
My tongue is drunk.
We have pretty much always had Abel or Abunda in our house since that week.
Since then.
So whenever that was, 15 years ago or something.
It's a while ago.
Yeah. Long time ago, whatever it was. Yeah.
All right. I believe this is, am I right? Was yesterday a Patch Tuesday?
It was.
It was. What does that mean to you, Paul?
What does it mean to me?
Yeah.
Well, it means it's another monthly reminder of how broken my brain is because I always forget it's Patch Tuesday, and then it happens, and I'm like, God damn it! And then I have to write about it. And you'd think I would be the biggest day on my schedule or something, but I always forget. But I did know going into this because we talked about it in terms of like the preview update from Week D a couple weeks ago, 10 days ago, whatever that was, that this was going to be a big one in the sense that this is the first Patch Tuesday where we've received what I would call major new features for Windows this year. This has been quiet, right? We've seen mostly kind of low-level fundamental things, whatever, and this, there's a bunch of that. But the two big, well, I should say too, actually, the other weirdness to this is that 24 and 25H2, both supported still, are getting the same update, right? So it updates to a slightly different build number, but the point beyond the decimal is the same, right? Because it's the same update, same features, same everything. That's where all these new features are. And then there's also Windows 11 26H1, which is on the new Snapdragon X2 based laptops, which coincidentally are the only ones I'm using now as we start winding down this trip. And there's not much going on there. So I had to break out like a couple of laptops that I'd packed away to be like, all right, I got to go see if I can look at any of this stuff. But if you have 25 or 24H2, you're going to get Xbox mode, which is a replacement for two things. This is the game mode replacement, which was previously or to this moment is just a toggle switch in settings that's on by default. It's nothing you can do to configure it. And then the full screen experience that debuted on those Xbox ROG Ally gaming handhelds gaming handhelds. So this is the new version of that. It's a full screen experience, like the old full screen experience. It gets rid of a lot of background processes, so it reduces resource RAM usage, etc. The Xbox app essentially becomes the shell, if that makes sense. It's controller based or controller friendly, certainly. And, the game bar is still there and all that stuff. And so if you're just going to use this computer for gaming, which you would with a handheld, obviously, but maybe you would with a gaming PC too, you can just leave this on forever and you'll just have that kind of console-like experience, maybe is the way to put it. And I've seen that on one computer, and it wasn't one of the ones I play games on, which is, we're still dealing with CFRs, right? These random deployed features. So that will eventually go away, but it hasn't yet. The other major new feature is agents on the taskbar, which everyone remembers was what got Pavan Davuluri in so much trouble late last year. I believe, though it does support first and third party AI agents, I think the only way you could test it right now or use it is with the researcher agent that's part of Microsoft 365 Copilot. And this is where the agent will behave like an app. So it will put a button or an icon in the taskbar. It will pop up notifications if it needs to get to you to ask it for next steps or to clarify something, whatever it might be. And then you can also click on it. It will pop up a little UI that will show you what it's doing, where it's at. You can get a progress report, that kind of thing. So not seeing this yet, and I don't have 365 Copilot, but I'd say I'm kind of curious because this is Microsoft's attempt to make AI agents make sense within the context of how Windows works, right? And in a bit, we're going to talk about how Google is doing the same thing, which is kind of interesting. Not the same UI, but their own take on this. And then there's just some other, drag tray has become drop tray. I hate it. I turn it off, so I don't care. Bunch of low-level improvements to File Explorer, which is getting, performance improvements, right? We're seeing those across the board. We'll talk about that in a moment. This is kind of interesting. So the Windows kernel no longer trusts cross-signed third-party drivers by default. Instead, if a driver is in the HCL, the hardware, I guess it's the HCP, the hardware compatibility program, it's not a list anymore, right? I still think of it this like 1996, like the HCL. If it's in there, that will be trusted by default. I think admins can make an allow list of trusted legacy drivers that will just be trusted by default. But this is, Microsoft kind of shoring up that driver bit, similar to what they did with printer drivers, right? Where they kind of just took that over and said, yeah, we can't trust you guys anymore. We're just going to do this ourselves. So that's kind of interesting. If you do have 26H1, and you probably don't, but if you do, it's the stuff we saw in previous months. It's like 26H1 is the shipping or stable version of Canary. Like it's always like a month or two behind or more than that, I guess, depending on what it is. But, there were improvements to the narrator, the smart app control thing where you can toggle it on and off in real time now. Some pen settings improvements, the new setting about page, which I feel like we've had for 9 months or something. I have no idea. So these are just things like we've seen elsewhere. I don't know why these are different. I mean, to me, I feel like 26H1 should have the same features, or perhaps be a superset, if you will, of 25H2, but it's not. And I can't explain that, but because, Why could I? I haven't had time to write this. I wondered when I saw this Patch Tuesday release, and then it was later confirmed. But Microsoft, not surprisingly, has developed their own in-house version of Anthropic Mythos, right? This thing that's finding all the security vulnerabilities everywhere. Their version is called MDASH, which, by the way, I like the name. And it's not really at the same level yet. I don't remember the exact number of vulnerabilities that it found this month, but it's in the double digits, like 20-ish, something like that. I expect that to be, if not exponentially bigger next month and then beyond, but maybe, it's going to be a lot more. I mean, as this thing ramps up, if you think about what Firefox has done with Mythos, this is going to be, this is going to be big, because this is going across Azure, Windows, obviously, on the client Windows Server, probably the Office apps, everything. I mean, throughout Microsoft, if you think about all the software
I just think we're going to get huge numbers of patches everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's nothing special to Microsoft. These new tools are turning up vulnerabilities like mad. And if they can turn them up themselves, the bad guys can too. Like, the pressure is on.
Oh, yeah. So the reason I mention this is only because, like, for example, OpenAI last week announced their version of Mythos, right? Whatever, I don't remember the name of that, but everyone's doing it. This is the thing with AI. Like, if you see a feature over here, just wait 2 seconds. You're going to get it on the AI thing over here. But this is not available to individuals, right? This is something they make available to companies, governments, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And in Microsoft's case, they could have probably, absolutely could have used Anthropic Mythos, but they make AI, so they want to have their own. So it's not. I mentioned this only because it's not really surprising that Microsoft would make their own agentic vulnerability finder or whatever. So we'll see how this goes. I think this year is going to be very, very interesting for found security vulnerabilities, I think.
Yeah, and it speaks to, I was almost making neuromancer references, like we're just not that far from having these models running inside of your network, constantly monitoring and resisting attacks.
If I didn't, I think, Firefox, Firefox will come up later in the show, but if I didn't say this last week, like, one of the observations I kind of had about this is that, at some point you find the bugs that are in an existing code base, but then you start using it more proactively because you're submitting new code into the project.
Yeah. And it'll be part of the CI/CD pipeline, right?
And this
evaluate on the fly.
Yeah. So in Microsoft's case, they've been promoting this notion of, secure by default for possibly 25 years or whatever it's been. This makes that more of a reality, if that makes sense. So we'll see how it goes.
But
anyway,
it also seems like Microsoft is positioning itself as self-contained on the AI realm. Like, they obviously got into OpenAI first and so forth, but they keep showing they have their own product. So
I haven't, I haven't.
They're getting ready for a go it alone day.
Yeah, I suppose there's a possibility this is in fact based on what the OpenAI thing is, and I don't know. I just haven't had a chance to look at it yet. So after the show's over, I'll probably write it up and figure that out. But yeah, if this is in fact a homegrown model, great. I mean, that's, good for them.
Yeah. Interesting times.
Yep. I mean, I can't get like a Android Kotlin project to even compile, let alone figure out if it's secure, But these guys, they're on a different level. So
yeah, but you hit the point, which is that a lot of people have a tough time even evaluating what security means. Like, what does it mean to actually have this code well locked down?
Yeah, and I think for app developers, regardless of the platform, if you're Android, iOS, web-based, whatever it is, Windows, obviously, there's the whole notion of starter templates and starter projects, and there's a code review thing you can do through AI, et cetera.
Yep.
I think that the security angle is going to be part of it from the get-go. And
it makes a lot of sense to have an agent that's running and gathering the latest CVEs and evaluating the code it's seen. I could, the same way we have Dependabot inside of GitHub, we could do the point with our own code bases where this agent is actually adding issues saying this CVE likely impacts this application and needs to be run through the evaluator.
Yeah, in the old days, we would say, "Oh, did it compile? Okay, ship it." And
Good.
now it's going to be more like, "Did it pass? Whatever the version of MDASH is,
this security profile."
Then you ship it, right? So it's good. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's 100% progress. Like that's good. Yeah. This is maybe the best AI kind of thing I've seen so far. Like it's just going to benefit everyone, even the people that hate AI, because there's, the stuff they use is going to be better because of it. It's nice.
My AI hype note ends with the story of AlphaFold and giving away the 200 million protein foldings. It's like, we fundamentally changed medicine with this technology now. You're never going to take that back.
Here it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Should we go to the Insiders program?
Yeah.
Are you waiting for me? Is that what?
Well, yeah. I mean, do we need to do an ad, or should we?
Well, you did it so fast. I can move the ad down a little bit. I like to go at least 20 minutes before I make you.
Stop touching my notes, Leo. Okay, so so this
I'm always guessing just how long it's going to take you to get to bullet point. And I do the same thing. Just when I do the notes, I kind of think about it like this is going to be a long show or short show, or whatever, and I'm wrong every time. So yeah, it's very hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got more to talk about with.
Yep. Sometimes you go into it thinking, all right, this is going to take some time. Got to get through this, and then it's like, bang, it's done.
I do like MDASH, by the way. That is a good name. It's a good name.
Yeah. They should rename all their AI to that.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
They should fix all their bugs. That would be cool.
Yep.
Well, now you're just talking crazy talk.
They'll fix a lot.
That's not how that works at all.
All right.
If it's so good, why can't it just fix all their bugs?
Yeah, just fix it. Just
fix it.
That's what I want to say. Just fix it button, for the kernel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was simple. That was easy.
Yeah. So I feel like for the rest of the year, or at least for the next few months, we're going to be dealing with this kind of a weekly thing. And the weekly thing is going to be, two parts, right? There's the Microsoft will either talk about or implement some low-level changes that improve Windows to some degree as part of this pain points thing they're working on now. And then you will run into people who complain about it, which is bizarre, right? Because I think most of anybody, pretty much using Windows, it would look at what they're doing, and I can point out things they're not doing, like that's my job. But as far as like what they are doing, it's all, it's good. And unless you're a complainer. So one of the things that Microsoft is quietly working on is something called a new low latency profile for Windows 11. And what this does is actively engage the CPU very briefly to boost the performance of an app launching or a UI like the start menu or widgets or whatever it is responding to that click. So in other words, the delta of time between you clicking the thing and it, coming up or whatever, like File Explorer notably, the app shell comes up fast, but that display of the home screen is slow. And slow in this case means like 1 to 2 seconds.
Do we really think it's CPU bound? I think it's usually network bound.
So it depends on the UI. So actually we're going to get to that because that's actually part of it. But this is for specific on-device display of UI, essentially, whether it's an app launching or, like I said, like a start menu kind of thing. So start menu is, I'll just get to it now since you said it. Start menu is an example of something that is both, right? Because it is connecting to the internet in Scott Hanselman's words too many times to do certain things. And so people are like, oh, it's React Native, it's slow. And it's like, it's not that. It's like, it's just doing too much. And that slows it down. The initial, you expect to click on something and see it,
and by too much you mean stuff I didn't ask for.
That's another issue. But yes, absolutely. It's fair to say that you can customize the start menu to some degree if you don't like that stuff. But fair enough. So Windows Central and some other places have tested this, and according to those people, with this enabled, if you side by side, same machine with this low latency profile enabled or not, they're seeing like 40% faster launch times for inbox apps like Edge and Outlook, and 70% faster launch times for interfaces like Start and right-click context menus and so forth. So it's working, right? So, but of course, like I said, people complain. So someone on, I guess, Twitter, X, whatever we're calling this, he's like, so let me get this straight. It's like the slowdowns here are really coming from whatever the runtime is, like React Native on top of XAML or something, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so you do like screwing around with the low level, how the processor works. And like, that's the fix. And Scott, of course, being technical and having the brittleness that comes with that is like, yeah, that's not it. It's not. It has nothing to do with React Native. And this is something that Linux and all mobile platforms do as well. And so, what doesn't matter what the device is, you bring up a phone, you tap an icon, you don't wait seconds, right? Like it just appears. And so every interaction, whether it's touch based on a phone or in Linux now or Windows as it's happening, it's like cores get woken up on the processor, clock speeds get boosted, the thing occurs, and then it drops back down to idle. And this all happens in milliseconds, right? Apple does it, Android does it, and in Scott Hanselman's words, Apple does this and you all love it. So fair enough. I'm not sure I've experienced this. I've been using like Snapdragon X2 laptops lately, so I'm already seeing an awesome performance boost. So, I'm sure this will help you guys. So anyway, that's good. And that's something, I don't know, I'm not even sure I don't know if some of this is unstable yet or if it's just inside a program. I believe it might be inside a program. This is probably, it would have been late last week. So Microsoft is announcing insider builds differently now. In the past, what they would do is have a blog post for each new build. So if there was a beta release, a Canary release, a dev channel release, whatever, there would be a separate blog post for each, even though in many cases they might have a lot of overlap for features and so forth. Now they have simplified the program by having fewer top-level channels, but also made it more complex by having sub-channels, which is super confusing. And they're doing a single announcement for everything. So whatever day comes, Thursday, Friday, whatever this was, they're like, here are all the builds we released. There's 4 of them. One is in the beta channel, and then 3 are in experimental because, again, we can't have nice things. So there's experimental that used to be the dev channel. It's just experimental. There's experimental that's on 26H1, which is essentially the former Canary 28,000 series builds, I think. And then experimental future platforms, which is now what I think of as Canary, but the further out stuff that may or may not make it into the system. And when this was Canary, I was thinking of this as like 26H2 essentially, but who knows? So we got those 4 builds, and then there were 2 notable changes or new features, or however you want to say this, that neither one is, groundbreaking exactly, but one is that they're adding additional gesture options for touchpads that's like precision touchpads that have all the multi-touch gestures related to scrolling and zooming and automatic scrolling, etc. I didn't see one that I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to try that. I was like, no, I don't care about these. But the other one's just nice. One of the issues, and this is probably related to Chromebooks being super cheap, and then MacBook Neo is now super cheap. And if you are in a smaller educational environment where you don't have IT staff, especially, and you don't have any budget, right? You might want to just go buy computers, like either in the channel or even at retail, because they're so cheap. Like you can get these really cheap Windows laptops. But when you buy them that way, they come with what's Windows 11 Home, like the consumer version.
Right.
So what they're allowing now is for you to buy a Windows 11 Home-based PC and then upgrade it to what's called Windows 11 Pro Education for K through 12 and for free. So it's not unstable yet.
What do you need to be able to do that upgrade? Like you have to be a teacher of some kind?
I didn't even look into that. So I would imagine, I don't know. So probably, right? And the idea here is that like pro, but also, pro education can be centrally managed to some degree, or not to some degree. Can in fact be centrally managed, right? Yeah. So it might be an MDM type solution. It's not going to be Active Directory probably.
It'll be Intune. Yeah.
It'll be Intune.
They're not doing anything new with AD. It'll be Intune.
Yep. So
which is a per seat charge. So
yeah, that's nice. To me, that's just nice. So
they're good on them. It's just nice.
It's nice.
It's a nice thing.
It's nice.
Did anybody say the word canary? Oh, this episode of Windows Weekly brought to you by the Thinkst Canary. This thing, look at this. This looks like an external, USB drive, just kind of plain black case. You could put this in your network. Nobody would think twice about it, except it's not. This is a honeypot. And man, this is the kind of honeypot you want. First of all, totally secure. I know when you say, well, plug a device in your network, you go, okay, but really? But this is designed, these guys at the Thinkst Canary folk are super good. They have been in this business for decades, teaching governments and industry how to break into their own systems. They've always been white hat, but they do a lot of pen testing, that kind of thing. So they know what hackers are looking for. They understand that. They know how to design a super secure box that looks like something super valuable. That's the key to a honeypot. In this case, mine is I've mentioned this before, Synology NAS, but it's so easy to change it. It could be a Windows server. It could be a Windows XP server if you want. It could be SharePoint server. You know bad guys are looking for that. It could be a SCADA device. I mean, yes, it could be almost anything. And when I say it impersonates those devices, it does it perfectly. It does it down to the MAC address, down to the exact login screen. Everything looks real. The hacker, even if the hacker's suspicious, the hacker cannot resist because inside there is potentially gold. This is what they're looking for. So these are tools that everyone needs, every business needs anyway, to let you know if there's somebody inside your network prowling around. We all have, I'm sure, perimeter defenses that are very, very good, but are they perfect? Just ask, well, who's the breach of the day today? Just ask anybody. The breaches are happening 50, 60 a day now, right? That we know about. That's because perimeter defenses are not perfect. But the problem is when somebody gets into your network, they're sneaky, they're clever. These hackers are wily, and they don't, telegraph that they're in there until they've done everything they want to do, exfiltrated all the information so they can blackmail you, put little time bombs in there so they can ransomware you. They do that, then they send you a little note. On average, this is the wild stat, on average, companies don't know they have been breached for 91 days. That's way too long. What you want to know is right away. So you need these. You need these at least on every segment of your network. This is the Thinkst Canary. They can also make, by the way, each canary can make many infinite number of tokens, canary tokens they call them. They're files, so where they look like files of any kind, anything from a PDF to a Word document to a WireGuard configuration. I mean, there's hundreds of different document formats, and they look like the real thing. But the minute the intruder opens it, and they can't resist, like I have on my Google Drive, it looks like a Google Sheet that says payroll info. Now, what hacker could avoid that? You can't. You look at that, you go, I got to open it. The minute they do, you get an alert. The minute they try to hack your SCADA device or your Windows XP server, you get an alert. And only the alerts that matter, no false positives. You get it any way you want, email, text. Of course, they support syslog. They support webhooks. There's an API. I mean, any way you want. But when you get that alert, you know that someone is in your system. You get the alerts that matter. So choose a profile for your Thinkst Canary. It's really easy. You can change them daily. You can change them every 10 minutes if you want. It takes no time. Register it with the hosted console for monitoring and notifications. And then you can just sit back. Okay, I'm going to relax. Attackers have breached your network. Malicious insiders, other adversaries cannot help but make themselves known by accessing your Thinkst Canary. How many do you need? Well, it depends on, how big your network is. Some banks have hundreds. Casino back-end operation probably has one everywhere on every segment for sure, on every slot machine. For a small business like ours, 5 is plenty let's give you sample numbers. Visit canary.tools/twit. That's important. That's the address, canary.tools/twit. $7,500 a year gets you 5 Thinkst Canaries. Your own hosted console, your upgrades, your support, your maintenance, all that's in there. Oh, and if you use the code TWIT in the How Did You Hear About Us box, you're going to get 10% off the price for life. Now, if there is any in your mind, any doubt at all, be reassured you can always return your Thinkst Canary. They have a very generous 2 months money-back guarantee for a full refund. I should mention, they've been advertising with us for 10 years now. And in all that time we've partnered with Thinkst Canary, their refund guarantee has never been claimed, not once. Visit canary.tools/twit. Enter the code TWIT in the How'd You Hear About Us box. Every network deserves a Thinkst Canary. Canary.tools/twit. We thank them so much for their support of Windows Weekly and for keeping our family safe. Now, let's go back to Paul, where The word is a new threat has emerged.
Yeah, I mean, Google's been kind of previewing this for a year, but they finally announced, well, what the device there we'll call Googlebook, which is a new kind of Chromebook, right, based on this aluminum OS thing, which is not going to be the final name of the OS, but Android.
Aluminium, by the way, not...
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
No, I'm not. That's what they say. But anyway, that's how they spell it. But they say, don't worry, it's a code name.
It's a code name, yeah. Still a lot of questions here, but I've written a lot about this. I'm fascinated by this notion of like scaling up a mobile platform to make it compete with the desktop platform and how that might or might not work. So, a couple of things I will say because this is pertinent to our space. You know, Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, once described Copilot as potentially becoming the new start menu. And we all kind of chuckled and laughed and everything. But when you think about it, this thing you go to get work done, where you start, you launch, literally start. I keep saying start, but you start your day, so to speak. That makes some sense. But, Google, unlike Microsoft, has had a lot of success with its AI, and they're putting Gemini, in their case, across their entire stack. They have incredible reach with consumers and businesses. And this thing, I don't like some of the marketing here. It's like, it's not an operating system. It's an intelligence system. And you're like, okay, guys, whatever. But, Android based makes sense because that's the popularity and the scope that you need. All the developers there, the drivers go there first, et cetera, et cetera. So this, they're doing what they did with Chromebook. It's sort of rethinking the laptop.
There's I really like, and I got it from my daughter, the Lenovo Chromebook with a MediaTek Companion processor.
That's right. No, those are great.
That's the funny thing. Terrible name, great processor.
Yeah, so it's that's like a Copilot plus PC class Chromebook, right? As far as the hardware goes, with the
benchmarks make it kind of equivalent of Apple's M2.
So the Googlebooks, we don't know a lot about the hardware, but
I hope they use this MediaTek processor.
They will. So they're going to use Snapdragon. They're going to use the MediaTek, what do you call it?
And the Lenovo has an OLED screen. It's really nice
as well. Yeah. So we know that all the top 5 PC makers are on board, which they are for Chromebooks as well. I didn't realize this at the time, which kind of shows you where my head's at, but one notable exception to that list of OEMs is Samsung, which is Google's biggest partner in this space.
They make great Chromebooks.
Yes, they do. And there was a rumored Samsung Galaxy Book running this OS out doing benchmarks or something in the world. So like that will happen. It's more likely that this was not a snub, and that because these guys are such close partners, that they'll have a special thing with just the two of them, at some point.
Right.
So that's interesting that Chromebooks are still a thing. Because I feel like the schools have kind of soured a little bit on that.
I don't know. I mean, I will say, having recently reevaluated a Chromebook, using it like a really cheap one too, it was like under $200. It's fine. It's pretty good. Like it's
as long as you don't need to install any software on it, right?
Right.
Because what's on it
nowadays,
works,
everything's web-based.
Well, I mean, like a real Chromebook, you could install a Linux environment and run Linux apps. Yeah. I mean, that's for developers.
That was just a bit complicated for most people.
Yeah.
Oh no, I understand. And then Android.
But almost everything's web-based now. Everybody even QuickBooks has a web interface. I mean. What can't you run in a browser nowadays?
Well, a game locally.
Oh, that.
And then like top.
But that's why schools like it, frankly.
Right. No, No, there's good reasons for it. I mean, you could see where a business might like it too. But anyway, this is interesting. Like So
the question is it more Android compatible than Chromebooks?
I think this will be. I think that's the whole.
I think it's literally just going to be Android. I think it's Android.
Yeah.
Well, it's Fuchsia.
And that's fine.
And it will run. It will run the full desktop Chrome web browser with the extensions and all that. So that's important. So in that sense, it will be like a Chromebook is today. There's no plan to replace Chromebook immediately, but that's obviously going to happen. These are going to be premium kind of Chromebook Plus or Copilot Plus PC type devices. There were a bunch of announcements around this, but one that is pertinent to us is that I mentioned this agent on the Taskbar thing that Microsoft has in Windows. And for this system, Google is rethinking like the mouse cursor, right? And so if you're familiar with Windows, you have to enable this feature, but it's called Shake. I forget what it's called. I think it's just called Shake. But you shake your mouse cursor and all the windows minimize. And so what Google is doing is you shake the mouse cursor and then it turns into what they're calling I think it's a smart pointer or a magic pointer. And it becomes this Gemini kind of front end. So it does that vision stuff where whatever's under the mouse cursor, you can learn more about that. You can select items and put them into kind of a little, it's like a pop-up bubble bucket, and then write a prompt in right there, like next to the cursor, on screen anywhere. And okay. I mean, I've not used it. It looks interesting. And it is a way to bring kind of new AI capabilities into what is essentially like what I'd call a legacy, desktop type platform. I know it's not a legacy, but as far as there's basically a taskbar, star button. It's like the thing everyone knows and knows how to use. And they're kind of rethinking it, which Google has a pretty good history of doing this kind of thing. It's kind of interesting. And we'll see. There's a lot of questions. So
many questions.
Yeah, devices by the end of the year. One of the inevitable conversations you get into with this kind of thing, and I say that because I often trigger it myself, which is, you can take something big like Windows that's been around for decades, and you can kind of strip off, and try to arrive at this more mobile-like or literally mobile platform that's simpler. Does that make any sense? And Microsoft's tried this with Windows CE and all the stuff that became, Windows Mobile over the years. They tried it with Windows RT in the Windows 8 timeframe. And then what we have today is Windows 11 on ARM, which is just Windows 11, right? But I mean, there is some culling of legacy code in there, which is great, but they haven't really changed it's the familiar Windows interface. Apple did the same thing, right, with Mac OS X when they made the iPhone. And then they've since used that smaller code base, which they added things like multi-touch and whatever too, and created all their other platforms like iPad, Apple TV, Apple Watch, etc. Google's done the same thing. Like they have Android XR, they have Google TV, Android Auto, Wear OS. I'm forgetting some. It doesn't matter. So it's interesting, but the question of whether a mobile platform can replace a desktop platform is obviously dependent on who you are and the things you need to do. But I kind of like the idea of like scaling something small up in a way, like you're starting from maybe a simpler code base, if hopefully, and we'll see where that goes. But they position this was their wording, that this thing is modern, right? In other words, they're not really saying mobile, like they don't really describe it as a mobile platform. It's a modern platform, right? And you can make the argument that desktop systems like Mac and Windows are legacy platforms, right? I mean, they've been around for a long time. There's a lot of cruft. And with great power comes,
I mean, I'd definitely like to see one of these as a tablet.
Yeah, well, right. I mean, so the answer there would be, well, we have that, right? We have Android tablets. Like this is very specifically a laptop.
Not that good.
Well, we'll see. I mean, like the iPad can be good at like a laptop in the sense that you have a magic
definitely
keyboard.
that was my point. It's like, are you really going to make the iPad Pro competitor that can snap into the keyboard and be very laptop?
Right. So we may see that they're not talking for them, but I mean, in the past they were talking Android laptop, but we'll see. I mean, it's possible OEMs, Google itself, whatever, we don't know. But I will say, with the iPad, there's still some little rough areas where it's touch first. It's awesome as a tablet, of course, but there are interfaces, depending on the app and whatever it is, where you're trying to right click and it doesn't right click, but if you click and hold, it then gets a menu, which is how it would work with touch, not how it should work with a mouse. And, if Google can kind of get by that and make this a little more seamless, maybe they're onto something. So
awesome.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
We will see. Okay, so that's kind of fun. Always like to see that. Out of the middle of nowhere, I guess, that's not the right way to say that. Microsoft announced a major update to Edge across both desktop and mobile today. Wasn't expecting that. Oops, I just closed the tab. So this is going to be another one of those, you'll cheer, then you'll boo moments where it's like, I'm happy to announce that they've gotten rid of Copilot mode. Yay! No, because it's all Copilot mode now. You knew that was coming, right? Come on,
we don't need an icon when you can never get away from it.
Yeah, it's just there's no mode. It's just going to be all this AI crap. So there's a lot of new capabilities that are occurring across both desktop and mobile. There are some things that had been on desktop before that are now coming to mobile. So, for example, Copilot Vision and Voice are now available on mobile for the first time. So that's kind of cool. Or if you want that, I guess, I don't know. But the things that will be across both is Copilot has, first of all, long-term memory, which I think is, important to all these things, meaning you can ask it about things and it will have the context of all the stuff you've given it permission to see, which can now include, not just multiple tabs, but like reasoning across multiple tabs. So you can compare information, get summaries, see what matters the most, blah, 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 whatever. The new tab page has been redesigned. This is the thing. This looks like the Copilot mode new tab page to me, but that's fine. Copilot has these two features that were experimental. Actually, one of them still is, but there's a feature called Journeys, which is now broadly available across desktop and for the first time mobile. I don't think it was even tested on mobile before, at least publicly. I could be wrong about that. I don't think so. There's a study and learn mode with guided study sessions. There's a writing assistant, which is obviously AI based for drafting new things or just rewriting or, for tone, clarity, whatever. There are Copilot quizzes, so you can generate quizzes, flashcards, guided sessions, etc., based on information you might be looking at in a tab. You can turn any tab into an audio podcast, right? So if you think about, what's it called, the immersive view or whatever, the reading view in Edge today, that's a way to read the actual article, but without the distractions of the web page with, whatever ads and nonsense might be there.
All the blinky and jumpy stuff.
Yeah. But you can also click a little play button and it will read it to you, which is nice. But the podcast feature is not a literal reading of the article. It uses AI to kind of summarize it, and then it presents it as if it were a podcast. So you might be on your phone, maybe you see some interesting article, and you're like, I got to get on the subway or the bus or whatever. I can't walk around and read this, but you can listen to a podcast version of it. Which for some reason is super common with AI making a podcast out of things. I don't know. It's almost like they were training all their models on all the podcasts, but I'm sure they didn't do that. And I think that's probably most of it. So these features are all rolling out across Windows, Mac, Android, iPhone, and iPad. So
cool.
There you go. This one kind of hit me personally because I love Markdown. I write in Markdown. I almost think in Markdown at this point.
You're writing a book about Markdown?
I might be writing a book about Markdown.
John Gruber's expecting you to write a book about
Markdown. Yep. Now there's some pressure.
There's pressure.
So, but the thing is, Markdown has become even more prominent lately because it's the language of AI and especially AI agents. And I guess I never really thought about this too much, but it's one thing for it to be able to easily process Markdown because Markdown is just plain text with a couple of formatting tags, essentially. But it also outputs in Markdown. And there's an engineer from Anthropic, and I think Anthropic as an organization is making the argument that this is not the right approach, that the output should be HTML. And because this is richer, possibilities there, including programmatic interactions and, through JavaScript, et cetera. You can link to images in Markdown just like you can in HTML. So there is some visual kind of things that you can do there. But the thing is, this isn't the part of the book or part of that book I'm working on. I wrote this, but I haven't shared it publicly yet because that chapter is not done. But when John Gruber created this,
and Aaron Schwartz, I really want to make sure Aaron gets credit. So.
Okay, I'm just based on me reading his blog, right? He described Markdown as two different things. There was the syntax that gets added to plain text, which is both human and machine readable, obviously. And then in his case, I think it was a Perl script, but it was a way to transform that Markdown plain text into HTML because that's what gets published on the web. And doing that in having AI do that, having an AI agent do that, actually to me does make sense because the surface that you're looking at in cloud or whatever AI you're using, if you're on the web, whatever, it is going to be HTML, right? Like it might as well use the thing the whole world already uses, and it has richer display capabilities as it is, and must maybe better understood as well. So even though you can do some, some kind of cool. I mean, if you, depending on the Markdown editor that you use, a lot of them have like a side-by-side view or a view where you can bring up it's called a preview usually, which is the HTML view, right? So you're writing in code essentially. Well, you're writing plain text, but it has little hashtags and whatnot. And you can read it. It's readable. It's just not particularly pretty, but if you want to see what it's going to look like on the output end, that is HTML. It was always going to be HTML. I think it's an interesting point. Like I don't know why AI agents spit out Markdown other than I don't want to. Let me think about.
They like text, right?
They love text, and it's
could have been HTML, but
and they're saying
they do both equally well. Honestly, it's just whatever. If you told your agent use HTML from now on instead of Markdown, it would.
It will just do it. Yeah. But I mean, I think what they're saying is,
and by HTML you mean marquee with flaming text. Right?
Yeah, you can. I mean,
blinking text.
So after that article came out from Tariq, some have said, Daniel Miesler, who I think is really smart, has said, stick with Markdown and do HTML when you want something that's prettier or easy to read. So I still stick with Markdown, and you need to for things like Claude.md or Agents.md.
I think right. I think the reason it is Markdown on output is because it is on input too, and these things all interact, and so it's just easier. This is the workflow.
I'll show you what I've done. So what I do when I want something that I can visualize better, I'll say make the Markdown and put it in my Obsidian because Obsidian reads Markdown well, but also make a page. This is on Cloudflare, so I just have a Cloudflare page. Right. So we're working on a workflow, and it just did this page. Now it also did it in Markdown, but you can see instead of using Mermaid to make diagrams and stuff, it does it HTML, and it's nice, and it makes it easy to read, and it's stuff like that. The other thing I had to do, which I guess I can share this with you. We're planning a vacation in the fall, and I didn't know what to do, where we're going, so I had the AI act like a travel agent and recommend stuff. And I said, make that an HTML page and put it up on the Cloudflare. Cloudflare's free for pages, and so it just, and it's easier to read. That's all. That's the beauty of it.
Right.
That's all it is. And then I have an index on it. So this is just like a quick bookshelf. They're disposable, and I think that I still use Markdown because I still put it in Obsidian.
Like I said, I almost think in Markdown. So to me, that's just normal.
It's easy. It's how you type. But nowadays, when the AI is typing, it doesn't matter. Python, Go, Markdown, HTML. Yeah, it's spitting out 1,000 lines a second anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Feel like it obviously can read HTML. It's the earliest role of AI was a web scraper.
Right. So. Right.
Translator
obviously can handle it. Anyway, it's
an interesting conversation.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I do both is what I say.
Okay. Yeah.
Depending on how I wanted to use it.
I don't think about it because I'm not producing anything that I want anyone to see. Like I'm just, you know what I mean? Like I'm not producing.
Well, for things like the diagrams and stuff, it's a little easier to visualize. Yeah. But anyway, it's just as fluent in both languages. So I just say, hey, give me an HTML of this and put it up on Cloudflare, and it does it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's easy.
Yep. Yeah,
that's great.
Yep. So I think we referenced this last week. I still to this moment have not written about this, but Google Chrome was found to be downloading this 4 gigabyte local AI model, which I said at the time has to be Gemini Nano, and it is. I also had this vague idea, like, they said a couple of years ago they were going to do this, and they did. Actually, this is not a secret thing they're doing. I made the point I think last week that Firefox does this with like the language translation stuff. Every time you select a language in there and say I want to be able to translate between this and whatever other languages I've downloaded, it downloads local AI models for that. That's what it does. Now, they're probably not 4 gigabytes of space or whatever, but all these people are writing tips like, here's how you can free up 4 gigabytes of space on your computer. And it's like, okay. But I mean, if you're actually using this stuff and you want this thing to work offline, for example, or whatever it might be, I mean, and you have the space, I guess you might want this. But it was sort of presented as this nefarious plan or something like, we're going to sneak, Gemini.
The only thing nefarious about it is that it's changing web standards unilaterally without the help of the W3C.
So you use the word only, and that's actually serious. So, I mean,
it's not. So, I mean, is it actually trying to change the RFCs? I mean,
no, but it's de facto, right? So if a developer says, "Well, I have an API," which it is, by the way, there's an API. If I have an API to a local AI, I'm going to use it. But the problem is it only works with Chrome. So there goes Firefox. There goes Vivaldi. There goes.
This was the Internet Explorer strategy back in the day. Make stuff that only works in IE, and this is not what we want. We don't want a button that says this page works best in whatever the browser is, right?
So I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
Yeah, I mean, the first outrage about this wasn't that, although that
it was the 4 gigabyte.
It's just the 4 gigabyte thing, and it's like, okay, but whatever. If you have a Copilot Plus PC, you might have 40 gigabytes of models. I'm not joking.
And there's a lot to be said for a local only model, right?
Yep.
Especially Gemini, which is very, very good.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot.
This is the same model that Google puts on their Pixel phones, for example, right?
Right. It's on every phone. Every phone is a local model. So but I do think it's unfortunate because it means Firefox is. There should be W3C should set a standard for local models in the local API.
I agree. I agree.
Google has so much
a rich
power
history
in the marketplace
of doing this kind of thing. So they were going to do that. What was that sandbox thing they were going to do?
They Bigfoot everything.
They eventually gave up on, but they were just basically pushing by whatever the standards are and doing their own thing. And my God, was there complaining? So the good news is that complaining leads to antitrust investigations, which leads to them completely reversing course. So maybe they'll do that here. I don't. It's early.
Yeah, they gave up on the whatever that.
This privacy sandbox.
Privacy sandbox. They gave up on that, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
In fact, they had several different proposals.
5 years, maybe longer. It was, they were going to be doing that for a long time until they were not.
The difference was it was the advertising community that didn't like that. This would be end users that don't like it. I don't know how much clout we have.
It blows my mind that it's like we want to find something that's going to be really good for advertisers and doesn't violate your privacy so much. And it's like there's no such thing as that.
Right.
You're going to do one or the other.
Oops, sorry. Just pressed the wrong button on trying to get my watch to shut up. Instead, it made more noise. Sorry.
No, it's okay. OpenAI has a coding agent called Codex. Like Anthropic Cloud Code, it has expanded to include productivity functionality.
So they're going after co-work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, they are. They released a Codex app on the Mac and then on Windows. And this is over the past, X number of months. I don't remember. And what they found was, and it's always fascinating to me, like you think you release software and it's intentional, but then users actually use it and you find out, they're doing different stuff with it than we thought. The most common workflows that customers were using happened in their web browser, whatever it was. So now they have a version of Codex that's for Chrome, meaning it will work in, I haven't tried this, but it should work in any Chromium browser like Edge, Brave, whatever. And the idea here is that if you're doing like across multiple browser tabs, workflows like inspecting this is their words, inspecting logs, testing web apps, reviewing dashboards, moving through internal tools, CRMs, dashboards, docs, yada, yada, yada. So, okay. Whatever. You're cute. So that's happening. That's all I got.
Suddenly OpenAI is chasing, which is weird.
Isn't that strange?
Just like that.
They couldn't quite get to 1 billion users. They wanted to. They thought they would.
No, and they stuck with the consumer side.
They're chasing that valuation thing, which is very similar to what OpenAI is doing. And I don't know the organization, but there's some, in the same way that we have like analyst bodies that tell us, what they believe market share is for like OSs and browsers and blah, 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 whatever. Apparently, Anthropic adoption with businesses just surpassed OpenAI's.
Yeah. It's the enterprise. That's where the money is. Those are the people who are going to pay the money.
And I'm doing this off the top of my head, so forgive me. I think this is correct, but they're doing the run rate thing, right? So they have whatever revenues they had in some great quarter, and their annual run rate was either 30 or 50 billion. I can't remember, but their annual run rate the year before, or maybe their actual revenues, I guess, were 9 billion. So like that's great growth. That's awesome. It is awesome. The thing is, they're on the hook for like $400 to $600 billion in costs.
Yeah.
And that run rate is not going to pay for that. There's no such thing as a 30-year mortgage for this stuff that makes any sense. Like, so it's not Anthropic. This is not unique to them, and I'm not dumping on them. But the financial story, and it's always presented as this giant positive, is very close to what you see with OpenAI, and meaning big numbers for like growth, yes, but not enough to cover their costs.
No. Well, and also so much of the cost stuff is speculative based on further growth. Like, these are hard numbers to work out.
I know. I keep waiting for this whole thing to come crashing down to earth, but here we are.
No, it seems to be getting closer.
I don't know. I'm not convinced. I mean, it's bubbly.
It is bubbly, but is it a bubble? But
is it a bubble?
I'm not.
Yeah. I don't
know.
Well,
it's the question. To me, the moment the momentum shifted is when the memory companies refused to double production.
Right.
Like that point, and all those projections for all those servers were impossible. They're just not.
It's like we're gonna stop selling this to individuals, but we're not actually going to increase capacity.
No, and I think they're looking at this as a bubble and thinking, I don't want to be in the situation of a global crossing or a KPN at the end of the .com boom, where I laid all this undersea cable and everybody went broke.
The market is flush with RAM that nobody wanted, and now it's selling at 20 cents. I think that's
exactly it. And they're like, it takes us 3 years to build a fab. You guys aren't going to be wanting these things in 3 years. We're going to stick to the production we can do.
This is smart for AI companies because it puts all the risk on the company, the Microns or whatever these companies are that make RAM and other components. And they're all like, no, we're not doing that. Like, sorry, we're not. They're also,
you also see where Micron's saying we're taking deposits if you want more RAM. Like, there you go. No more speculative ordering because they're just not going to be caught holding the bag.
Yeah.
But at that moment, that slope graph going up and to the right is impossible. You can't keep scaling. We don't have enough equipment. You have to get more efficient.
Yeah.
You have to change the trend. And so it's like, that's how you deflate a bubble, and hopefully in a graceful way.
Exactly, not the balloon going around the room, but rather a graceful.
The Big
decline,
10 came off $2 trillion in the first quarter, and they've had a bounce back for the past few weeks, which is the pattern that happened in the .com boom too. At some point, the investors go.
Right. This makes me.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to how much the investors will put up with. Right.
Yeah,
they're putting up with a lot, and in the same way that if you watch sporting events on TV now, you'll see all the ads are for like basically gambling apps or services, whatever.
That's your choices, right?
Wall Street has always been speculative, obviously, but like it has become more and more like gambling than I think ever before in history. I don't know what's going on here.
They moved on from crypto.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Sorry, they're collecting junk. I'll be right back.
I know, the junk girl is here. You said it was like a child's?
I can hear that. Yeah, it's a girl. She's a woman now, but it's a child's voice they recorded.
She's famous.
She recorded it. Yeah. She's famous in Mexico. And
so funny.
I tell you who doesn't like her, though, is the dogs. They're like all the dogs out there are going.
All right.
I can hear like 5 dogs. It's so funny.
Can you really barking at their little
they're
girl?
freaking. They're not barking. They're whining like they hate it. It's like the sound of this is punishing.
Throwing out all the good stuff.
I don't think that's it.
I want that bone.
Right.
All right. We'll take a little break. The dogs howl. The adult woman cries as a baby.
Right.
Mexico is alive.
Lavadoras, etc.
Lavadoras. Our show today brought to you by Trusted Tech. If you are managing Microsoft 365 for your company, you're responsible for, both the cost and whether it's set up correctly. Now, let's talk about cost first. And on July 1st, I think everybody knows this. I hope I'm not telling you something you don't already know. Microsoft is raising prices. That's all less than 2 months away. So any mistakes in your licensing are about to get more expensive. Most companies using Microsoft 365 are either over licensed, meaning paying for unused seats and features, or under licensed, creating compliance and security risks. And believe it or not, it can be both. The result, either way, is wasting thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars a year on tools your team doesn't use, or worse, missing critical security features you thought you had, but you didn't license. It is. I understand it's complicated. There's no shade. I'm not throwing shade on you. That's why you need Trusted Tech. Trusted Tech helps businesses understand what they have, what they actually need, and how to lock in the right setup now before costs go up. Yeah, I know you could feed it to an AI. Don't. You don't want hallucinations on this. You want the facts. That's Trusted Tech. Their team ensures your Microsoft 365 environment is well supported and aligned with how your business actually operates. Think of it as a tune-up. You need this. You should probably do this all the time. Oh, and by the way, they're also there if you need ongoing help because they offer reactive support for your Microsoft environment through their certified support services. So they do both. Microsoft licensing is a moving target. It is changing all the time. E3 versus E5 versus premium, business premium, and then the add-ons. But there's the new E7. It's confusing. It's easy to misconfigure. It's easy to overpay or underpay. Yes, that can happen. Licensing mistakes don't just cost money. They can create compliance exposure that will also get more expensive after July 1st. Even if you think your license is dialed in, it's worth a second look. You know who really loves Trusted Tech? Kevin Turner. You know his name, former Microsoft COO. He said this. This is a direct quote about Trusted Tech. He was talking to them. He said, "You have an incredible customer reputation, and you have to earn that every single day. The relentless focus you guys have on taking care of customers gives them value and differentiates you in the marketplace." If Kevin Turner says that, you can believe it. Now, after July 1st, the clock is ticking. You are stuck paying more. This is the last chance to fix your licensing before the costs go up. Trusted Tech is offering a free Microsoft 365 licensing consultation right now. Visit trustedtech.team/WindowsWeekly365. trustedtech.team/WindowsWeekly365 and get a clear data-backed view of your current licenses, what you're wasting, and how to lock in savings before the price increase. Let me give you that address again. trustedtech.team/WindowsWeekly365. There's a form right there. You submit that form, get in contact with Trusted Tech's super smart Microsoft licensing engineers. They can cut through all of this, tell you exactly what you have, what you need, and do it now. July 1st is coming faster than you might think. trustedtech.team/WindowsWeekly365. We thank him so much for their support of Windows Weekly. All right, my friends, onward.
So I'm not a security expert.
But I play one on TV.
Yeah, I pretend to be one sometimes. I do have common sense.
I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express last night.
Did you really?
I'm so sorry.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I broke the waffle machine. Sorry, everybody. But I do have a sort of pet peeve about security vulnerabilities, which I should put air quotes around, like where the first step in the way that you duplicate, that you make this happen is, first of all, sign into your computer. Like, okay, but but now you're signed in. I mean, when you're signed in, you have access to your web browser, which has all your information on. I mean, you're signed in, So there were a couple of these this past week. The recall, the recent recall episode is one of them. So this first one I've not written about. I just was alerted to it today, so I'm gonna look at this in more detail. But the person who found this vulnerability calls it yellow key. He describes it as one of the most insane discoveries he's ever had. Feels like a backdoor. So it says how to reproduce. Wow. Step 1, copy the whatever folder to some other location. Well, actually, that's not step 1, is it? Step 1 is sign into your computer. You can't just copy that folder. So to me, that's like the rest of what you're describing. It's like I've kind of stopped listening. Like, what are you talking about? Like, when the recall one was a little bit like this, it's like, okay, sign into your computer, and it's like, well, and then sign into recall, which requires the Windows Hello ESS nonsense, and it's terrible and slow. It's like, I'm sorry, but that's the security. What are you talking about? Like, so I don't know what to say about this one. I got to look into this a little bit more. We'll see. But and in the same vein, there was a report this past week. Microsoft Edge loads all your saved passwords into memory in clear text when you first run the browser. Microsoft has responded to this one similarly to what they did with Recall, and basically the short version is, yeah, that's how it works. It's supposed to work that way. You're signed into a computer, like securely, like
right.
This is what, the security protecting the browser, which is the operating system, which is Windows Hello, is what secures this. And yeah,
but at the same time, it's like, then you click on a phishing email that drops a payload on your machine.
I'm 100% not saying that. I'm just, So today they're saying this is by design. I agree. I feel like, look, they've already done the thing where they want to make it more secure so it becomes less convenient, right? One of the reasons, maybe the reason you would do this in plain text is it's fast, right? If this is encrypted and you have to decrypt it every single time you access any password, that could take a long time. That would slow down the performance, et cetera. People would complain about that. There's got to be a better way. I mean, the new Windows Hello experience is slow. I hate it.
It is
when you're in Windows. Signing in is the same. That's always worked great. But do we want more of this? I don't know. Here's the way you can secure Microsoft Edge. Don't use it. And, just use an actually secure browser. So I don't know. I don't know what to say to this one.
It's an interesting story. The same, by the way, Chrome used to do the same thing, keep the passwords in the clear. And Google's explanation of this was, well, if, like you said, if somebody has access to your computer.
I mean, you have a problem. It's not just this, it's like.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it is kind of a tempest in a teapot. I don't know about this. You should be using a password manager anyway.
Yep. This is right. And
that's the real answer.
Yes.
But Google for a long time kept passwords in the clear in Chrome. I'm sure that's why Edge still does. It's just.
I feel like, they have this Secure Future initiative. They have the Windows Resiliency Initiative, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is going to get caught up in that. I can't.
Google does encrypt them now, which is why
no one is complaining.
Doesn't.
Right. So no one's complaining that Google is slow when it comes to accessing a password. Then again, if you're using a Google password manager in a Chrome browser, you have mental problems and you need assistance.
I hate to say it, but that's how most people
I know.
Their passwords.
Of course, but most people don't know any better.
I know, they shouldn't.
And this is why you use a third-party password.
You would also think that if that people would start to say, well, wait a minute, but I'm also need those passwords in other places on their phone.
You do.
How do I?
Yeah, with the third-party password manager. That's how.
They keep them encrypted all the time.
Yep, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. I'm just saying.
They're free.
Yeah.
Bitwarden is free for personal use.
Proton is for, as well. What's the other big 1Password? I think you do have to pay for, but
most of them.
But they're a good free ones. Bitwarden is, for this audience. I mean, Bitwarden.
Yeah, Bitwarden's open source, so it's free forever.
But your primary consumer breach is a phishing attack, and that's the moment where whatever you had loaded in memory under your context is now vulnerable.
That's true. Like you are the weakest link. In other words,
and you're going to make mistakes. The whole trick here is how badly punished are you going to be for that mistake? If those things are encrypted and randomly decrypted when you use them, like Bitwarden does, then you're not going to have all your passwords immediately hijacked.
And we should mention Bitwarden is, of course, a sponsor of the podcast.
Yep.
The other thing, though, I hesitate to say this, most individuals are not going to be attacked. Right? Or not? Is that not true?
I don't know.
Most phishing attacks are cheap and happen everywhere.
That's true. They
social engineering attacks of all kinds are.
I mean, by the way, valuable target is, of course, an enterprise, not an individual.
Sure.
But
you can still 48 hours. I've been under steady attack. Like I'm getting authenticated requests.
I had a phishing thing this morning. I mean, so look. You can get distracted. You're out in the world. You're on the phone. Maybe you don't see it so good. You didn't think to look at the email address. No, I mean that happens. It's very real. Yeah. So
I hadn't had my coffee yet.
The first stage breach is always a possibility. Everything is about what happens next.
Yeah.
Right.
And in that case, a password manager didn't help me because I was going along. I was helping the bad guy. Oh yeah, I got all those credit card numbers. What do you need? No problem.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're encrypted, but I know how to decrypt them.
Yeah. Could you do that now, please? Oh, yeah, of course.
Sure.
Of course, I'm signed in. That's the first
I'm
step.
sending you the code. Oh, yeah, there. I got the code. Thank you.
Do you need remote access to my computer? I'm going to be out for a few hours, so.
That's what we do with OpenClaw.
This kind of, I know. That's what I was just joking about that with Stephanie, my wife today. Like, I'm just going to open up my life to AI and just let it run amok. Because what could go wrong? What could go wrong? I counted them 19 different cron jobs running on my framework all the time, doing all sorts of stuff. Mm. I mean, it's code, so it's not, I mean, they know what they're doing, but. You know, you can get a Stripe account for your AI now, which is great. It's going to buy a bunch of those little terminals so it can start running people's credit cards for you.
Patrick Collison posted on X something like, okay, now that I can have a Stripe account, I said to my agent, buy yourself a gift. What would you like? Bought like an $8 ebook.
Who owns Stripe? Is that Block? Is that the same company?
No, it's the Collisons. Okay. Stripe is Stripe, right?
I don't know. I'm trying.
They have a larger name.
Okay,
I can't.
Stripe is Jack Dorsey.
Yeah,
it is. Oh, so it is Block.
Then it is Block, right?
Okay,
but he's trustworthy. I wouldn't.
He likes his AI.
Yep, I think he likes his Nazis too. But anyway,
no, Jack Dorsey.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Wrong.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Right,
he's the hippie.
Sorry. He's not Peter Thiel. These people. There's too many of these people. I can't. I apologize.
No, Stripe is not.
No, it's Coulson.
It's the Collisons. Yeah. It's privately owned.
I feel like the only person.
It's not Block.
It's like Automatic, the company that makes WordPress.
Yeah, Block is Dorsey.
Mullenweg.
Yeah, is that Dorsey too?
No. Stripe is not Dorsey. Let's get this clear. Yeah. It's the Collisons. Yeah. Maybe Block is Dorsey.
Block is Dorsey.
We should probably just.
Automatic is Matt Mullenweg.
You're right.
It's hard to. Look, it is really hard to keep track of this. I screw this up.
Especially because this is on the periphery for me. This is not my focus at all. Like I would know this if I was cared about this stuff. I guess
I don't care about it, and I have to know it.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't know why I asked. This is so stupid. This is what this is how my brain works. I'm so stupid. All right. We have talked a couple of times about Mozilla and Firefox and using Anthropic, Mythos, etc. There were, when they released, I think it was Firefox 150, 270 fixes they had made in that release alone. By the end of April, they had fixed 423 security vulnerabilities just in that month. A year ago, in April, they fixed or patched 31 vulnerabilities to give you an idea of the scope of how this has changed. Yeah. Yep. So that's great. And now, not all of those are actually from Mythos. They still do all the traditional stuff. People still submit bugs and they still find things, and that still happens, you know.
But I think they're also starting to use the new AI development style too. So they are moving faster. As well as using these tools for detection. And
that's one of the things I guess Mythos is very good at, is not just saying, hey, here's a vulnerability, but hey, here's how you can duplicate it yourself, and here's how you can fix it. And for an organization like Mozilla, but whatever company, they can take that information and prove it to themselves, prove that the fix works, and make that fix. And not a lot in the way of, false positives, although I guess it must be the Microsoft one. I think they were talking about false positives there, but but these things
and often problematic fixes too. Like there's ways to fix things that create other issues. I'm hearing over and over again from different teams that they're using tools like this, and they're just finding incredible reams of vulnerabilities. And as it was described to me, keys to the castle kind of vulnerabilities. Like, no, that's not just a buffer overflow they might exploit someday. That's I have admin access to everything.
The buffer overflow, the good old days.
I was so looking forward to that.
Yeah. That's incredible. But these guys are doing that thing I said, which is they're going to shift into a place where now they're going to be proactive using AI. So they'll find problems in code bases as they're submitted and before they ship to the public, right? And it doesn't mean it will be perfect. Software's never perfect, but I think this is going to lead to a new level of
the problem is because it needs to. Right, because that same set of tools are being used by the black hats to find and take advantage of vulnerabilities in 0 day at high speed.
Right,
and there is a panic going on. It's an underlier since the fall last year of all of these major companies going, we have to get this stuff patched as quickly as possible before the attacks really come in full bore.
And then China was like, hey, can we have access to Mythos too? And Anthropic said, no, you cannot. Interesting. In other good news, I guess this is not AI related, but rather security related. I think Monday or the other day, whatever day, was Passkey Day, which used to be Password Day. And Amazon used that to announce that they now have over 465 million customers who have enrolled in passkeys. So that's how they sign into their Amazon accounts now. That's a 75% gain year over year. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's not going to continue, obviously. That's now most of their customers, so they won't do that.
I don't know what the, exactly. But that's good,
they do hammer away at sign up a passkey, sign up a passkey, sign up a passkey. So it's like, I can make this go away by signing up a passkey. I think you guys are the same, but I use passwords wherever I can use passwords. And I got to say, the best passkey implementation to this day is GitHub. GitHub's really nice. Signing into GitHub is the best. Like I love it.
You know what's great is that many AI tools and I think other geek tools use GitHub as their single sign-on provider.
Yeah, so there you go. It's great. Like it's
so
awesome.
Now passkeys everywhere because
they
it's
really
one
did
GitHub
it
passkey.
Great. Now the caveat to this is it's possible Amazon's is just as good, but every time I sign in with a passkey, I still get a code on my phone.
No, yes, it's not just as good.
Okay, I would say I wasn't sure if that was like something I did.
No, it's not just you. It's me too. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't like that. I feel like the passkey should be it.
Yes, it's fully secure. You do not need a third factor.
If you sign into Google a lot, which I also do, your experience will either be the best experience imaginable, or are you serious? Like, because they literally do it randomly when you sign in. So one time it will say, "Oh, do you want to use a passkey?" You're like, "Yep," and a little, my password manager will come up and boop, done. Other times it will be like, "Oh, you'll get an alert on your phone." You're like, "Oh, come on, man!" Like, just do the same.
I haven't had that experience.
Oh, I have this every day.
Mine uses, and I had to have Russell, our administrator, turn on passkeys for workspaces because they're not on by default.
Yeah, so I have one in workspace and one for a consumer account, and maybe that's part of it. I don't know because I go back and forth between the two, but
I have always been able to.
Okay, see, that's a good experience. All right.
And I say yes, and that's it.
That's a good experience. Like, to me, that's good.
Huge. Okay. I still have to enter my email address. I really don't even want to do that. Honestly,
I know.
A site should say you have a passkey.
Exactly, and give you the choices if there are choices, or just the one, and you click yep, and then you do a Windows Hello or whatever you're using for authentication. And yep,
I don't want to have to enter anything. I just want to click something.
100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you're feeling suicidal, remove the password from your Microsoft account. Have fun with that.
I regret that so much. I did it.
Yeah, I did it with a secondary account, and I will I can't say never.
So regret.
I will not do it to the one I use all the time because it's just like, are you serious? Like, what is this? Like,
it's screwed up.
But if you're going to keep a password, make it as long. Make it a 32.
Mine's 3 digits, but yeah, you're, no, but. That's another inconsistent experience. They have all the right stuff. Like they have all the secondary forms of authentication. And the problem is you have to use them every single time. It's like all right, now we're going to send you an email to a secondary address. Type out the full address, and then you go to that address, you get the code. You go, okay, now do it over. And like, seriously,
is this just because you're in Mexico? Is that what it is?
No, it's happening to me. And it happens on Xbox, and Xbox won't give you enough time to type in the code every single time. It says you didn't do it fast enough. And it's like 10 seconds. I don't know how fast it's supposed to be.
This is the problem with a 2FA code thing is you can see like on the countdown, it's like, I got 12 seconds. I got this. And then I'm like, and then like you finally get it in and it's like, nope, it's wrong because they moved on to the next code.
Yes.
Right.
Like I did all the time. Oh, well. Someday.
Oh, well.
Someday.
That's an amazing number. 465 million.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't even believe that.
Okay. I
don't think that's true.
Interesting. All right.
Wait a minute. Well, how many people are in the U.S., including infants?
300 something. No, but Amazon is humongous in other parts of the world too, right?
And what is Passkey adoption generally, the percentage? It's not more than 20 or 30%.
Right.
This is everybody in the world who
So I don't
understand it.
look, the first day they offered this, I did it, right? So I can't tell you what the experience is like if you're not using it.
I don't believe it.
I suspect they're pushing it pretty heavily.
I don't think they have any reason to lie. I mean, it must be true, but it just seems...
You want that to be secure, right? I mean, it's money.
How many customers does Amazon have?
Right. That's a good... Let's find out. I don't
must
know.
be several billion in order for them to have 465 million Passkey users.
Yeah, remember, so when companies start doing e-commerce, in the early days, they'll always say something like...
And it might just be counting.
We have X number of credit cards in our system or whatever, right? So there are 260 million Prime members worldwide. There are
so this is more than almost twice as many Prime members.
Yeah, so maybe
I wonder if they're just counting the number of passkeys, not counting.
There's something wrong with this number. I don't buy it.
If it is the number of passkeys, I must have 10 of them because
I signed
in different look. Well, let me see. Let's look at where's the wording.
This is on LinkedIn. He posted this.
Yeah, because that's where all the good stuff is posted.
Man, I actually have a LinkedIn account just because of people like Steven Schmidt. It
literally says 465 million of our customers.
Oh.
Right. So I don't know.
Agree doesn't mean they use them.
They
agree.
No, they actually do say 465 million customers enrolled in Passkeys.
Not in this post.
Let me look it up. I got an email.
In this post, passkeys are one of the most useful changes in user auth security. Guess what? 465 million of our customers agree.
All right. This is the email I got.
You got an email. I'm just looking at the link.
Yeah, no, well, it should be in there too. Where is this?
I don't know what agree means. Yeah, you're right. Oh, no, you're right. And the first quarter of 2026, more than 465 million customers have enrolled passkeys in their Amazon accounts.
That's the language. Yeah.
That's amazing. It doesn't seem like it passes the sanity test.
I mean, it's almost like it's everybody, basically. Yeah. I mean, how many? Well,
they must have billions because I guarantee. I mean, Lisa's not using passkeys on Amazon. Most people
should be.
I know. We agree. Everybody should be.
Put her on the phone.
We were talking about this morning.
Yeah.
And she said, I really should be using passkeys everywhere. And I said, yeah. She said, but I don't want to take the time to go through all my accounts.
Right.
So which, by the way, to do that. Just do it.
A good password manager would tell you which ones support it that you're not using, right?
That's true too.
This is a good feature.
But I don't think you have to go through everything. Just as you use accounts, whenever you log in,
right?
And you go, another password. See if they have passkeys. And if they do,
she's trying to bulk it up, which is reasonable.
I do have 2 Amazon accounts. I mean, I suppose.
I gotta ask Perplexity how many people have Amazon.
I love that you turned immediately to Perplexity.
Well, I paid for it. I might as well use it. Amazon accounts globally,
right?
Because if they only, wait a minute, I'm not logged in. Let's see, restore. Can I restore it? Something went wrong. Okay, bye Perplexity. Sorry I paid for you.
Don't make me regret this.
Don't make me. I gotta. Okay, what would be the next? God, everything's malware blocked. What is going on my machine?
You're rocking it. This is what happens. This is what happens when you go to Hawaii.
When you travel. Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's exactly probably what it is. Yeah.
When I go home, Netflix is going to be like, "Where do you live again? What the hell is happening?"
Yeah. You must go through that, right?
It's a huge problem. Yeah.
Because suddenly, and how do you watch TV? Do you So
we don't watch much live TV, but when we do, that's out in the world somewhere, like sports or whatever. So we have Apple TV.
Just go to a book. Okay. And the Apple TV doesn't complain.
We do watch Netflix here though. It works. I mean, it's fine. I also on this trip I've used Proton VPN on the Apple TV the whole time for the first time. Like it's
interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that. That's great. So it thinks you're in Pennsylvania.
Yep. And I am, Leo, wink, wink.
I sure am.
I don't know why I just said that out loud. It's fine.
Okay. So this is wrong. Mm-hmm. This is ChatGPT working really hard, by the way.
Yep.
I mean, it has been looking
AWS to kick the hell out of it.
It's looking everywhere.
Yep.
It says, I'll go with about 300 million Amazon accounts. Amazon does not disclose this. So that's not that number.
That seems small though, right? Given how much money this company makes, most of which is on literally things being shipped around the world? I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know how to even.
Hello, Marcelo in Argentina, listening today. I think Marcelo and I had a lovely meal in Buenos Aires, I think, many years ago, I believe.
A Google AI overview tells me that over 635 million users across Amazon through its mobile app.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean,
anyway, the ChatGPT has apparently given up. It gets checked everything from Axios to Substack, trying to find a number for Amazon accounts.
Right. We're going to get it. Let's look at AWS's internal servers. Hold on for 1 second.
Yeah, really. Come on. You're ChatGPT. You should be able to look this up anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, I give up. Let's take a break. Maybe by the end of the commercial.
This says, this is a site, but it says Amazon had 635 million users on its e-commerce. Oh, that's the same thing. But this just said a different way.
You mean regular retail customer accounts?
Like on the app,
No, it's going with 300 million. So
I don't know.
I think this is wrong. And anyway.
All right. So
I'm still puzzled by the 465.
I'm going to write a story that's going to say Leo Laporte : Amazon is a liar. And using math to support this assertion, I don't know.
Where would it get? So, yeah, I don't. Copilot says Amazon has 310 million monthly active users. So 465 million Passkey users is a nonsense number.
Well, if it's monthly active, so it's not all the users.
True.
I don't know.
But if they're not active, why would they send up a pass?
And at least 3 of those customers are paying for Amazon Alexa Plus. So
I'm sad to say, although it's jaunty, it has different personalities. No, it is. It has different. I'm using the sassy personality.
Wrong, but it is hilariously wrong.
It's jauntily wrong.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
There's nothing like jaunty AI. Let me just say.
There you go. Everybody wants jaunty AI.
Let's take a pause that refreshes, and then we will get to the Xbox segment. Back of the book coming up. We've got some. I think there'll be something interesting because Richard is in Belgium, in Antwerp, and I imagine last time you were in Belgium, you had something interesting to tipple. Our show today brought to you by ThreatLocker. Love these guys. Actually, I'm wearing the shirt that I got when I went out to Zero Trust World in this. In fact, Richard was with me when I bought this shirt. This was from the Kennedy Space Center. It's got all the badges of all the Apollos and on it. ThreatLocker is amazing. We love them. Their Zero Trust platform delivers the industry's most comprehensive suite of Zero Trust solutions. And with the big announcement they made at Zero Trust World, they now do not only endpoints, but networks and the cloud with Zero Trust. By extending Zero Trust enforcement to cloud services and company networks, ThreatLocker really is going the extra mile, ensuring devices are validated through a secure broker. That means even if an employee is successfully phished, attackers would actually have to have physical possession of the user's trusted device to go any further. That's huge. ThreatLocker works in all industries. It provides 24/7 US-based support. It works on Windows, of course, but also Mac and Linux environments, so everything in your enterprise. And ThreatLocker offers unprecedented protection. It's quick, it's easy, it's cost-effective. In fact, that's exactly what Rob Thackeray says. He's the end-user technical architect at Heathrow Airport. And he said this, quote, ThreatLocker was the most intuitive solution we tested, and the responsiveness of the organization, the willingness to engage with us, set up a demo, and work with us on weekly audit reviews was very good. It's great to have an ongoing relationship with a company that is so responsive to our requests. End quote. Thank you, Rob. That's high praise. And it's true. That's why ThreatLocker is trusted by global enterprises like JetBlue, the Indianapolis Colts, the Port of Vancouver. ThreatLocker consistently receives high honors and industry recognition. It's a G2 high performer and best support for enterprise summer 2025. PeerSpot ranked ThreatLocker number 1 in application control. GetApp gave them their best functionality and features award in 2025. And the awards list goes on and on and on. I won't read them all. Just trust me. It's the best. And guess what? We're already gearing up, Richard. And this time, Paul, I want you to go. We're already gearing up for Zero Trust World 27, ZTW 27, where they'll host some of the brightest cybersecurity experts. It's the 7th in a row. It was so much fun last time. Zero Trust World provides crucial education and training to support IT professionals, along with full session access. I did a couple of the hands-on hacking labs. They were fantastic. There's a great after party. I will keep my costume. I'm ready. You don't want to miss this exciting interactive 3-day event. It's happening February 17th through 19th in Orlando, Florida. So please set that date aside. I want to see you out there. Visit threatlocker.com/twit right now. Get your free 30-day trial. Learn more about how ThreatLocker can help mitigate unknown threats and ensure compliance. That's threatlocker.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support all year long of Windows Weekly. We appreciate it.
You remember when you were picking up that shirt, I got the little jumper for the grandbaby that says, "I need my space."
Yeah.
So
how'd that go?
Yeah, I got pictures of her in it now.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's great.
That's so cute. Yeah, that was the best. Kennedy Space Center. And we went to Gator World. And I have a Gator shirt. I don't know where I'm going to go next time. There is apparently a Sloth World.
Of course. I'm not a big fan of the only in ... like only in Florida type things, but in that case, like only in Florida. Like
Orlando is like, pretty.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting place. Apparently, Sloth World has had a problem lately. Large number, several dozen sloths have passed away. I don't know how you know.
It's the new bumblebee problem or bee problem or whatever.
Yeah. I was reading about it. I thought, how did we miss Sloth World? We saw capybaras at Gator World, which was great.
Awesome.
I don't know if they have them there for food or
oh God,
amusement, but it's still, I always wanted to see a capybara. Anyway, enough of that. Let's move on to the Xbox segment, Mr. T.
Yeah, number of things this week. If you are we talk about the Windows Insider program a lot, but there is also an Xbox Insider program. And if you were in that, there's a new update rolling out now for insiders that has basically 3 new features. So one is a new boot time animation for the console, which they had previewed on Twitter or whatever a week or so ago. There is they're doing like badging now. So when you have Game of Score milestones, so the Game of Score is when you get achievements in games and the total is the Game of Score, right? Of all those achievements. They have badges now for milestones like 10,000 achievements, I guess, or the Gamer Score points through achievements, right? Like 20,000, 35,000, say, 1 million, 3 million, 5 million, whatever. That's whatever. And then this, just a new way to filter the game library so that, who cares anyway, just some filtering, no big deal. I saw this thing. I'm like, oh, cool. They're racing for it. No, it's kind of small. Forza Horizon 6 is coming out soon, unless you're on Steam, in which case you could have gotten an early leaked copy. And apparently it was not supposed to be leaked. It was someone figured out how to access the game early. And I wish I could remember the time frame, but I think Steam said that anyone who played this game is going to be banned from Steam for 8,000 years. I think it was some stupid. It was some stupid number. Like, you're just never coming back. I think it's
not like somebody downloading that game is like in on the scam. They saw it and they downloaded it. Come on.
I know it's crazy, but anyway, early access launch is May 15, which is in 2 days. So this Friday, as we record the show, and then the general release, I think it's next week sometime, May 19th, I think. Okay. If you're a Discord fan and or user, I guess you would be a fan because they have Discord Nitro subscriptions, right? And so
we have many.
Yeah. So Nitro is the $9.99 a month version, $99 a year. And they just added a new Xbox related perk, which is Xbox Game Pass Starter Edition. And this is the one that gives you like access to over 50 games across PC and console. Actually, that's the whole thing pretty much. So, yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I wouldn't personally pay for Discord. I feel like I pay for Discord every time we do the podcast because That app updates literally every single time.
It does, doesn't it?
Every
it's a
single
long
time.
update process.
Yes, it is. Yep. They've somehow
Good old
managed
Electron.
to exactly. Okay. So Mojang, which is the Microsoft company that owns does Minecraft, they have these. I don't know if they're quarterly or every so often they have like a Minecraft live event. They're going to do one during what's called TwitchCon Rotterdam, which is Saturday, May 30. So they're going to announce new stuff about updates to the game, blah, 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 whatever. So there's literally no information beyond that. So May 30, there will be a Minecraft announcement or a series of Minecraft announcements. So we know that Microsoft's not selling many consoles, but they also don't tell us how many they're not selling. Sony and Nintendo do tell us how much they're selling, and now they're telling us how much they're not selling because this most recent quarter was terrible for both of them. So Sony sold 1.5 million PlayStation 5 video game consoles in the most recent quarter that ended March 31st, probably. This is by far their smallest number of PS5s ever sold. Sequentially, going back in time, the previous figures were 7.9 million, 4 million, 2.5 million, 2.8 million.
So they sold 7.9 million last
during the holiday quarter, yeah.
Oh yeah, which is their prime quarter. Okay.
Yeah, that's why it was so high, yeah.
Yeah, normally this past quarter is the slowest quarter of the year anyway.
Right.
But this was a particularly slow.
Year over year bad. First party software.
But I'd also say hardware sales across the board are off this year because
but it's the whole business, like
tariffs.
Right. For all this, and they've had to raise prices, et cetera. But the revenues from first party software sales are down. Their digital numbers are big, like meaning 85% of people who buy games to PlayStation do so digitally. That situation is very different on Nintendo, which we'll get to in a moment. The overall game and network services revenues, which is the part of Sony that does PlayStation, were flat basically year over year. Like hardware revenues, 110 million yen last year in the same quarter, 183 million. So it's like not great. Monthly active users are good actually. So they're pretty steady, and they were up pretty good from a year ago, 133 million versus 124 1 year ago. So the people out there are using it. I mean, they're just not selling as many,
but they're not buying new ones.
Yeah,
and this is a great year to skip it with the prices being up on all those sorts of things. So I think you see that. I'm kind of surprised Nintendo sold as many as they have, except that I know they ran out of them over Christmas. So maybe first quarter was catching up.
The Nintendo one is weird to me because they launched Switch 2 in I think June last year, so we don't have we don't have a full year yet. It got off to the fastest start ever for any Nintendo hardware, but I think we all kind of understood that the original Switch is by far the best. Well, not by far, is the best-selling Nintendo console. If you forget about the mobile stuff, it is by far the best-selling. And I never felt like this was going to have the legs of the OG Switch. I just no way, and it's kind of collapsing a little faster than expected, but for the reasons Richard just kind of alluded to, which is the whole component crisis stuff. Everything is bad. So let me see if I can come up with this. They sold 2.49 million units in the quarter ending in March. They've sold a total of just under 20 million units for their fiscal year, which also ends in March. The previous quarters were 7 million, 4.54 million, and 5.82 million. And that goes backwards. So 7 million is the holiday quarter. It makes sense that this would be the slowest quarter of that year, but it just came out too. So their quarter was fine financially, but they warned on the coming year, which is good. Then this is their only business, right? They don't have other stuff. Sony, makes washing machines or whatever they do. They have other stuff they can sort of rely on if they have to, but this is all Nintendo does. So they lowered their, first they've raised the price. Remember the Switch 2, or they're about to. I think that's about to happen. Or maybe it just happened. I don't remember it. But they've also lowered their estimates for the current fiscal year for unit sales. So previously it was about 20 million units they were expecting. No, I'm sorry, that's not true. That's what they just sold. This year they expect to sell 16.5 million. So they did lower their estimate, but I don't think we ever saw that estimate. I think they just said that that's what happened. They also sold another 560,000 original Switch units in the quarter, down from 1.36 million, whatever, they was hovering around a million for a while. So that console has sold like over 156,000. Yes. No. Million. No. What? 156 million. Sorry. I wrote that as 1,000. That's not right. That's which is awesome. But software sales were up,
Yeah, like I said, the markets are the work is soft and stuff, so people are going to play their machines, but they're not going to buy them.
Yeah. So the two other data points are about 55% of Switch software sales are digital, up from about 54% a year ago. So I think it's low too. But they come on these fun little card things. Like, I don't know, it's kind of a thing in that market. And then
it's retro.
Yeah, it is, right? I mean,
I want my games on vinyl.
Yeah, you want like a fun little carrier like you would have for CDs, but really small because these things are tiny. I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago. There was like a Super Mario movie or whatever that did awesome, and it actually really helped them a lot, which they really needed at the time because the original Switch was winding down. But this year they have a Super Mario Galaxy movie that's out that's sold, has made 800 million in revenues in its first 4 weeks. Who watches these movies? What is wrong with you?
Apparently, the great thing when you get a good kid movie is the kid wants to just keep going.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's why Baby Shark is so big.
Okay.
So they just play it over. And
back in my day, my kids' day, we had Caillou, we had Dora the Explorer, we had the Teletubbies. It wasn't the same.
Teletubbies. Oh my God. We had Barney, the purple.
Yeah.
Barney.
That was before my kids. Barney the dinosaur.
Oh, you're so lucky.
I love you. Well, but we did have the Teletubbies. The Teletubbies is like Curious George, where they screw up constantly, and then some adult figure, in that case, the new vacuum cleaner, cleans up after them, and they never learn any lessons. And
it's
I'm
like
sorry,
the Cat in the Hat.
Like, as a parent, I have a huge problem with this. Like, I always hated this. I hated this so much. If I could take out Curious George with a sniper rifle, I would do it right now.
Oh my God! God! He's joking, kids. He's making a joke.
Curious George is a cartoon monkey. It's fine. It's not a person. It's okay.
Has no tail, by the way, despite what many believe.
Well, like we said, curious. So not a monkey then. Oh no. Anyway, let's move on from that. So I like most normal people with brains, I get excited every time this Apple suffers a legal defeat. But in this case, what happened was the U.S. Supreme Court said that it would not review this awesome remedy thing that's occurring in the Epic v. Apple case. So the next steps are that they will get in front of Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Roger, who, by the way, is the judge in Elon Musk versus OpenAI, right? She's awesome. Yeah. And determine how much Apple can charge for the services it offers through its App Store. And I'm guessing it's not going to be 30 and 15%, but we'll see how low can we go. We're going to find out.
How did Apple get here? Honest to goodness. Talk about
by being belligerent jerks. Is how? Yep. That's how. We invented an arbitrary price and then we defend it to, like as if it were sacrosanct or something.
Now it's going back to Judge Gonzalez-Rogers,
who is not happy with this company.
So mad.
No, so angry.
She referred an executive of the company to the attorneys general for lying under oath.
Yeah.
Yep, that's Apple.
I don't think she's going to be that sympathetic to
what
Apple's,
happens on your iPhone stays in Apple's pockets. Oh, no, that's not the phrase. Sorry. It's fun. It's fun. That's all.
A billion hands in your pocket, y'all.
Should have made a deal.
All right. You know what's next? I'm so excited. The best part of the show, the back of the book is just around the corner. Before we do that, though, I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to make you join the club. $10 a month. Now, this is a good deal. $10 a month gets you ad-free versions of all the shows. It gets you special programming you don't do anywhere else, including, especially, because I don't, look, I'm not a paywall fan. So we don't really paywall anything except we've been forced to paywall the keynote speeches because every time we put Apple's keynote speeches on YouTube, they threaten us with a strike and a takedown. So we decided rather than jeopardize our YouTube account, the keynotes from now on will be club only. So there's one coming up Tuesday. That's Google I.O. That'll be 10 a.m. Tuesday. this coming Tuesday, and that will be only visible to the club members. Sorry, everybody else. Normally what we do is we stream everything in public, and I believe in that because I don't want to keep anybody who can't afford to join the club out in the cold. I'm not that kind of person. But we do need your support. I mean, that's what keeps us going. So we do want to reward people who join the club. So the reward is no ads, no plugs, no begging. You get ad-free versions of all of our content. You get access to the Club Twit Discord. Now that is fun. It is nice to be in a social network where people have to pay to be there. The quality just soars because of that. And you don't get the bots, you don't get the spam. It's just really a high quality social network. I love it. You get all that extra programming. Stacy's book club is coming up on Friday. Great book, by the way. Can't wait to discuss that. We've got the AI users group. All sorts of stuff happens in the club. But the most important reason is you're supporting independent podcasting, not owned by a big company, not beholden to anybody we cover. The only people we work for are you, our viewers and listeners. We appreciate your support. And if you're not a member, I'd love it if you'd join twit.tv/club. Twit. Enough said. That's all. Just wanted to say that. Now, let's return to Windows Weekly and Paul Thurrott with his world famous.
Okay. I hate the pressure that you put me under.
Actually, you did the Xbox. It's the world famous tip of the week. It is world famous. At least in my world.
2 tips. One is I've been working on this Switcher series of articles since the beginning of April. Actually, it's probably the end of March. So this one, it's extending into this month. It's going to be a busy month because we're going back. We have some travel and whatever. But I'm going to expand it beyond like OS platforms to include things like applications and services. So I wrote something up about web browsers. And by the way, part of the advice there is use a third-party password manager, obviously. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned Helium, which is one of the newer kind of Chromium-based browsers, privacy, security-focused. It doesn't even support like account sync of any kind. I love it. Like I love this thing. It's almost like it's basically Brave, but even more lightweight and with less going on in the UI. So in Brave, you kind of want to turn certain things off if you don't want like their wallet thing or their VPN or whatever they offer. This thing has none of that. It's just really stripped down and light, and I love it. And then this is so random. I have no idea why this was promoted to me on YouTube, but I just went to YouTube the other day, and there's something there called Claude FM, which is described as music for thinking and building, and it's that little crab character from the probably OpenClaw, but the Cloud Code thing. Yeah,
it's Claude Code. That's the little.
Yeah, so he he fries an egg or whatever, and he flies in space. He plays a guitar.
That's going too far now.
But it's 8-bit and it's cute. But the thing is, it plays this kind of ambient music in the background. It kind of reminds me, Richard does the .NET Rocks podcast with Carl Franklin, and Carl has recorded a lot of music to code by, where he put in the
27 tracks of it.
Yeah, like it's grown over time, and it's kind of the same theme in a way. There's a lot less of it from Anthropic so far, but it will. I showed my wife this.
He's making green eggs and ham.
We sat there and watched this for like half an hour.
I think I can play the music, right? This is generated.
I think so.
Music,
yeah,
right?
I think so. Yeah.
So this is music to code by. What makes music good to code by? No lyrics, probably.
Yeah,
no lyrics, 20-minute units, and one of the things I've noticed with music to code by, there's certain tracks that I like the most, and literally, it's now in my psyche to send me into the zone into that. I hear it.
Oh, that's great. So it's actually working for you.
Yeah, it's a trigger.
I find any music to be distracting when I'm writing, especially. Unless I'm on a plane, oddly, then I do.
I always listen to background track.
Yeah, I can't explain that, but there's some really
because you're using noise canceling headphones. You don't want to hear the jets. You don't want to hear the babies crying. So you got to have a little background.
There's the last album that Pink Floyd put out was all instrumental, and like it's called like The River or something, or The River something. But it's just a great. It's nice for that. Like in this,
I saw a tweet from somebody who said he's been coding for 20 years listening to Fish.
Okay, right.
Which would probably be okay code.
It's just all Ozzy Osbourne.
It's a jam band. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cute.
This is a little soporific, a little repetitive. But I guess it's the idea is to get your ADD mind to calm down.
Exactly. That might be what attached me to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I already mentioned Helium like an idiot. So 2 things on the app front. I mentioned Helium already. So Helium is only on the desktop. So one of the problems is there's no mobile client, but I think you can mix and match pretty easily with that kind of thing. If you are on an Apple device, there's a mobile browser called Orion, which is similar, although they have sync and so forth. And Orion is another one that offers kind of a nice experience, but on mobile, but only on the Apple side so far. I had forgotten about this app. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I used this on Windows Phone, or I think I did, like back in the day. But Snapseed, which was made by an individual, it's a small company or whatever, originally for the iPad. So the year the iPad came out, it won the award for like best iPad app. The first year they did it. Then it went to iPhone very quickly. Then it went to Android, and then Google bought them. And they don't release major milestones all that often. 3.0 came out last summer, I think, but only on the iPhone. But now 4.0 is out, and it's more full-featured on Android this time than it is on iOS. But I've been looking at camera apps and also photo editing apps on mobile. This is really impressive. Like, I've not looked at this in so many years. It's astonishing, like how many tools and fixes and things there are in this app. It's really, really good. It's worth looking at if you've never heard of it or haven't thought about it in years, like me. I know it used to be on Windows. I swear to God, I used this on a phone, but it was a million years ago. I don't remember. Anyway, it's worth checking out. It's free, and it's astonishingly powerful. Like, it's really, really good.
You're working me. You're working me. I know.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Also, just Leo, since we're talking, please install a new web browser.
Every freaking week. My God.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Helium is good. I installed it some time ago.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's good.
I would love to see it.
I feel like everybody needs a Chromium-based browser as at least your secondary. I use Zen, which is a Firefox spin, and I really love it. But everybody needs a Chromium browser in the back pocket just in case. And Helium's probably
if you want to. I mean, and I should say, so there's a site, Cover My Tracks or Cover Your Tracks, which is the EFF.
Yeah, from EFF. Yeah,
this is the only browser I've ever seen out of the box where it comes up green for everything. Like even the fingerprinting thing comes up green. That's good. Like, I've never seen that before. Like, even has, Brave doesn't do
uBlock Origin built in, I think.
Yeah. Right? Oh, right. Actually, so there's the caveat, I guess.
Yeah.
But it works really well. Well,
there you go.
And
if you only use it as a secondary browser, the sync isn't important because you're not really bookmarking. I mean, Zen has all my very elaborate bookmarks and tabs and workspaces and all that stuff.
There's an astonishing photo that Joe Esposito has posted to the Discord.
I have been unfortunately missing. There have been so many good photos coming over the transom here, and I've been missing a lot of them.
This one.
All right,
this might be my new profile photo.
This will be a new segment on the show where we show what's going on in the Discord, because we have a lot of AI guys.
This is a good one.
Oh, yeah. There you are, sniping Curious George.
Yep.
And you look a little worried, like you might miss.
I'm like, I want to get it right. I'm like, you can thank me later, world.
Oh, my God, with his 50 millimeter Canon. Let's see.
There's some other good ones if you go back.
I know they've been putting a lot of good stuff up here, and I haven't really been showing them. I should.
Is spectacular.
Yeah, I really should, because these guys. This is why I love. Oh, this is a fun one. During the Club Twit thing.
I'm a little disturbed that you're promoting a Trash 80 there, but
this is an old Radio Shack ad. Joe Esposito is a Photoshop whiz, not an AI guy, so he takes original ads and then puts our own content in there. It's pretty good. He's really good, I have to say. Here we are as Teletubbies.
Yep.
That's always no. You look happy.
And then they run around in circles.
Which one of these is the girl Teletubby? I don't remember.
Oh boy,
I think they're all androgynous.
Are they gendered?
Yeah, they're androgynous.
I think.
Yeah, they're there.
Okay, there's Barney, the purple dinosaur. Okay. Here's Mario. I think I've got
all that people need to keep themselves entertained while they're watching this.
Here we are. Here we are with the sloth.
Yeah.
Visiting. Nice. Actually, they've closed Sloth World. I'm very sad to say, because of there now 55 sloths have died in Sloth World, including Dumpling, the much beloved Dumpling. Yeah. So I think that there is something. Here we are in our space outfits. Thank you, Darren Oki. One of these will end up being the thumbnail for the show. You know that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Here's a sad story of Dumpling, the 55th sloth world death, which now has caused sloth world
launching
to
a
close.
Florida state investigation into the death of Dumpling. It's just the crazy.
How do you can't get much more Florida than that, really?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry if your kids are watching this. That's probably pretty upsetting.
Sorry about Dumpling, guys.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, Richard takes over.
Yes.
An adult, finally, in the room.
It had to happen eventually. Unlike with the Teletubbies.
We're all Teletubbies in the end.
What's coming up on Run As?
Published today was my conversation with Vaishnavi Gudura about production LLMs. Now, what do you figure is the largest LLM application like that that it has LLMs embedded in it, runs every day? I think it's Teams. Because every Teams call does transcripts, summaries, multiple languages, and Vaishnavi's one of the ladies that operates that system and just talked about what it means to manage 500 million Teams calls a day.
Wow.
And what it takes to scale systems to run those kinds of language models and all those things, and also cover all of the rules of the countries, all the regulatory bodies for that kind of data transcription. Like, it's a huge problem. And just, it's one of those things where you come out the other side of it going, A, I'm glad I don't have that job. And B, what you're doing is easier than what they're doing.
True.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a great opportunity to talk to just an extraordinarily brilliant lady who is just cranking on a hard problem with a great team.
Run As Radio, episode 1036. You get it at runasradio.com. And now, I'm wondering, do you have something from Belgium this week?
I went shopping in Belgium because, and it's Belgium. You know about Belgium. Everybody likes Belgium.
Beer. They're famous for beer.
Mannequin piss.
And the mannequin piss in Brussels.
In Benelux, right?
Yes.
It's part of the Low Countries.
Speak French.
You put the ba in Benelux.
You put the ba in Benelux. You're Belgium.
What's that? The beer with the pink elephant is from there.
I'm going to talk about that later because it falls into the story. Yeah, the Tremis. Belgium is Flanders in the north, which is the Dutch-speaking spot, although they have their own variant called Flemish or Belgian Dutch. The south part is Wallonia, which is much more the French-speaking part. And then there's Brussels, which is actually in Flanders, the Dutch part, but they mostly speak French there. And,
is Antwerp in the Flemish part? What is Antwerp?
Yeah, it's very much up against the Dutch border here. So I actually flew into Amsterdam, took the train down. It only takes about an hour. It's a great ride, easier than flying into the Brussels airport, I swear. This is also the country that just doesn't have government sometime. In 2010, their election was so their election had so many parties involved, they couldn't get a coalition together to actually make one for 541 days.
What?
Which seems like a lot, except that in 2018, the same thing happened again. They didn't actually have a government for 652 days.
What?
And you know what happened in that time? Nothing. They were fine.
That tells you
It's
something.
Belgium. Yeah, they're kind of chill. At one point during that long break, they talked about actually splitting the country up. Flanders going to the Netherlands and Wallonia going to France. Like, let's not be a country anymore. But of course, Brussels make that all impossible. This is the headquarters for NATO since 1967. This is the de facto capital of the EU. Nominally, there isn't a capital of the EU, but there are some major centers, and the one in Brussels is huge. And like you said, Leo, it's all about the beer. The Trappist, the Lambics, the wit beers, the Saison, the strong ales, like the Christmas beers. So many good beers.
Good.
So if you're going to talk about a whiskey in Belgium, it only makes sense that it's a 15-year-old distillery attached to a 500-year-old brewery. But maybe we should go to the start. We're talking about the Low Country lands here, this area that they now call Belgium. And there's evidence of human habitation going back 100,000 years. So that's mostly Neanderthal. even in the Neolithic period, this is the western edge of what they called the LBK, or the linear pottery culture, so named because their pottery has a very distinctive style with bands on it. That was about 7,000 years ago. So 5,000 BC, they were doing agriculture here fairly early on, one of the very first agricultural societies anywhere. That actually collapses after 1,000 years, and literally for 2,000 years, there's no evidence of farming in this area whatsoever. We don't see really permanent farming culture around here till about the end of the Bronze Age, 1750 or so. The Celts show up in this part of the world about 500 BC. They were the big traders, of course, so they're trading into the Mediterranean and so forth. And Julius Caesar himself arrives in this area, where he refers to them as the Belge, during the Gallic Wars. And in his Commentaire de Bello Gallicio, he describes these residents as a fierce confederation of tribes that, of course, they've won over between the Seine and the Rhine rivers. And this area remains part of the Roman Empire and subsequently the Holy Roman Empire until the collapse of the Western Empire in 500 AD. So 500 years, this was Gallia. This was the Roman part of the world. As the Western Empire collapses, we get the Merovingian dynasty, followed by the Carolingian dynasty. They actually fight back and forth and have control in different times. Around 800 AD, you get Charlemagne in the area. And then after his death in 814, there's a conflict for the better part of another 100 years until the Franks dominate, the French sort of take control of that. And that largely breaks down into a series of feudal states for the 11th and 12th centuries. And so by the 1200s, this area is basically contested between the French and the English, going back and forth repeatedly while trade goes on through the Hanseatic League, which leads us to the story of this particular whiskey, which is actually made, it's the Golden Carolus. This particular one's the Port Oak. And this is from Mechelen. It's just south of here in outside of Antwerp. Particularly in the Grootbenghof. So Mechelen is a small town, or not that small anymore, but back then. And there were these areas, these colonial areas, begoiches, and this is the grand one. This was a lay religious women's community. So they didn't want to be nuns, but they did have a strong Christian influence. And the community was founded in 1232. So this is old doctrine, old culture. And this particular one is 7.5 acres over 100 buildings, now considered a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And this group of women were running a hospital, but they also brewed beer as part of their charitable mission. And in 1471, Duke Charles the Bold granted that group a tax exemption for their beer. It's always about taxes in the end. And they had operated continuously in that form for the next 400 years. It's not until 1872 that the Van Breedem family, who were distillers in Blasveld, further to the east there, acquire the brewery because they want the tax benefits. And of course, they focus on ales because a lot of Belgian beer is ale-based. And by 1904, the brewery is known as Het Anker, or The Anchor, as it was such an important part of the city's past, and it was always been there, always been part of the process. And so the name Golden Carolus actually comes in 1960 after a flagship beer. Remember, this is a brewery this whole time. And the Golden Carolus actually is about the golden coins that are minted during the reign of Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor. And Charles, the man himself, had spent his formative years in Mechelen, and so was effectively the brewery's patron saint. So by 2010, so again, they've been making beer all along. Van Breedem and the Leclerc families finally built a distillery they call Distillery de Molenberg in Blasveld in their 17th century farmstead, which had once hosted the family's Jenever distillery. This part of the world made an early variant of gin called Jenever, still aged with juniper and so forth. But that had long shut down, but they already had the space, so that's what they used. It's a common product. They moved that distillery to Mechelen in 2024. It's all very recent. And Charles Leclerc, which is the current managing director, represents the 5th generation of the Van Breedem Leclerc families that have run the brewery and now also the distillery. But it turns out he's the last. He has no family successor. And so he's actually, at the end of 2024, sold the entire facility to the Bourgeois Huygen out of Mel, which also is a 300-year-old brewery, but never got into distilling. But they're famous for a beer called Delirium Tremens, which is the name for severe alcohol withdrawal. It's a strong blonde ale.
It's a good
but
beer.
Drinks really easy. Yeah, it's been made
got a great
since
label
the 80s.
too.
Well, because they call it Delirium Tremens, it actually upset a lot of people. It was banned in the U.S. for a while there, so they changed the name, but they put the pink elephant on it, and that's where you get the pink elephant from. So this is a very modern distillery. It's built a modern way. They actually bought stills from Forsyths of Scotland. It was the first in Belgium because whiskey culture has not been around here for very long. It's not a big thing. But when you got a 500-year-old brewery and you're going to make whiskey, you start with beer. So they literally use the same process that they make the Golden Carolus Triple, which is a 9% blonde ale. And at the point at where you would add hops to it and it becomes the ale, now they actually diverted into distilling, which has some interesting consequences. And I want you to notice this bottle is mostly empty because I was hanging around with a group of miscreants last night and we just had to taste it.
Now who's got delirium tremens? Oh, boy.
I call it being at work, but okay. But otherwise, the still is a classic modern still, so stainless steel mash tuns, ladder turns. They do the double distillation in copper pots. They, of course, use ex-bourbon barrels for their primary aging. And then in this case of this one, which is the port oak, they do their finish in Portuguese port wine casks. It's warehoused in Mechelen, which has got a good climate for this, relatively cool winters, mild summers, steady humidity. So they actually have a very slow Angel's loss. They typically distill up to 68%. They barrel at 63.5. This is bottled at 46, I think I wrote down here, but it actually says 48, so I probably misread it. This is the 48. And this is only a 500 ml bottle. It's a small bottle. There aren't a lot of rules for Belgian whiskey because it is a relatively new thing. They've only been really making it from the 2000s. And so they're pretty relaxed. They don't care about what grain you use, although admittedly this is all barley because they do make it from beer. And, oh, no, I had to pour it all into my glass. That's so sad.
It's all gone.
That's not all gone. It went to a better place. Their original head anchor whiskey was a single malt, and it immediately won Best Belgian Single Malt, which is not much of an achievement when there's only two. But, okay, this Port Oak edition is a much newer version. Now, this beer is, of course, because it's a port cask, it's got a lot of color in it, right? That's just cheating because you've got the port. It's not gentle nose. For a 48, it should be more fiery. It's just not. And that's typical of, Belgian beer is 8, 9, 10%, and you don't notice it until you drink too many of them.
Mm-hmm. And they come in nice big bottles, just so you can.
They do come in nice big bottles. Here's what's really cool about this whiskey. It's got a beer note to it. It's kind of beery. It's got that sort of sudsy feel at the back of your throat. I mean, there's still heat going down. Like, I'm definitely drinking whiskey. There's no two ways about it. But the same way when you take a big slug of ale, even after you swallow it, you've got sort of a juiciness in your mouth. It's like the beer suds. It's in there. And I figured out why. It's because they're using the ale yeasts, the normal yeast that they make their triple from. The usual distiller's yeast, which is also an ale style yeast, right? Like, there's ale yeast and there's lager yeast. The lager yeasts are bottom fermenting and they're slow. They're for preserving beer, for making lagers. Ale yeasts are fast. They run hot. They cook off quickly, short duration, and so forth. But distiller's yeast, the type that the Scottish use, are very neutral. They don't have a lot of flavors in it. But man, this is Belgium. And Belgium takes their beer really seriously. So this is a bright, flavorful yeast that this whiskey was made from, and you can tell immediately. I swear to you, if you put Belgian whiskeys, and there's two that do this, that use the ale yeast. There's also one called Belgian Owl, which we'll save for next year because I'm probably going to be back. I'm telling you, you'd know right away. There's something so distinct about this, and it makes me laugh because there's so many countries that are trying to make whiskey that you can't distinguish from Scottish whiskey. Right? We've tried them all. We go to all kinds of places. But all of a sudden, we're like, wait, this is Belgian whiskey. And you know right away, because the Belgians aren't afraid of serious yeast. And that's what they've done here. And it's made something super special. Now, I picked up this bottle at Husverlu, which is just down the road here. Guys were very nice, easy for me to work with. Cost me 51 euros. It's about $60 US. And admittedly, that is only a 500 ml bottle. So if you're going to balance that number out for a typical 750, we're talking about a $90 bottle of whiskey. And unfortunately, not sold in the US. You can get Golden Carolus beer in the US. They've never exported the whiskey.
Is that because they don't make enough?
I think that's part of it. I think the licensing is complicated. I think this is still a relatively new product, and it's just changed hands. So the new guys who don't have a distillery at all, they're still going to figure this out. It'll be interesting to see what happens going forward on this. But
I'm a fan of port barrels. I really love
port aging is great, and their regular single malt has won multiple awards, and by all means, people say great things about it. But I'm telling you, the secret of the Belgian whiskey is that ale yeast that's made it just a thing that you would know immediately that it's Belgian. And that's, I mean, good on Belgium. You know, they've came up with a way to make their whiskey theirs. And I'm delighted.
Isn't that nice?
And now it's, 10 o'clock at night here, so I don't feel bad having a drink or two.
I mean, by the way, Richard will take one for the team no matter what time of the day or night, sometimes 5 a.m.
6 in the morning.
Sometimes. He doesn't, he's that kind of guy. He's very selfless.
It's not even day drinking. It's like early morning drinking.
Yeah. I usually take a very small sip early in the day.
Yeah, that's probably wise.
But no, this is the end of my day, so
enjoy. I'm sorry that it's the end of it.
I'm delighted to find this whiskey. Just very,
I bet it's really good. I can taste it.
You don't get surprised very often, right? Genuinely, and then sort of unravel the whole plan and go, okay, I get what you've done here, and I'm here for it. Cool.
Very nice. Very nice. Richard Campbell, besides being our whiskey expert, also does a couple of really interesting podcasts, Run as Radio, and with Carl Franklin, .NET Rocks. If you're a .NET fan, I'm sure you know about that. That's the .NET podcast. Both of them are at runasradio.com. Paul Thurrott has a very famous website called thurrott.com.
Okay.
No, it's coincidental. He has no relation to Thurrott, but no, he does. It's his.
Wait, what? I mean,
it's eponymous, as a matter of fact. THURRO good.com. His books are at leanpub.com, although I'll give you a hint. You can get them for free. Windows Everywhere, The Field Guide to Windows 11, and of course, the new de-enshittify Windows if you become a premium member at thurrott.com. So it's well worth your money. I'm a proud premium member. And I guess Paul's heading back to Pennsylvania tomorrow. Wow.
Friday. Yeah.
Friday for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Richard, where are you headed next?
Berlin.
That I am jealous of.
I'm so jealous. So many great places.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. And the Germans make some interesting whiskeys too. So I'll be doing some searching on Monday.
Are you flying or training?
I'm going to fly. I'm taking the train tomorrow up to Alkmaar to spend a few days with a buddy of mine, and then Sunday fly to Berlin and home on Thursday.
I just love the trains in Europe. It's so easy to get around. It's so great. So great. We will be back. We do the show every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC. You can watch us do it live if you're in the club, of course, in the Club Twit Discord. But if you're not in the club, you can still watch on YouTube, Twitch, X.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, Kick. We want to be wherever you are so that you can listen and watch live. And if you're in any of those places and you're chatting, I see your chat and I appreciate it. We love having you in the chat. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show available at twit.tv/WW. That's our website. And we have audio and video there, so you could take your pick. Everybody seems to be liking video more and more these days. I still think audio's a dominant podcast medium, but video's up and coming. I hear this YouTube thing's
it might catch on. I don't know.
Catch on.
Yeah,
you never know.
We'll see.
You never know. We are on YouTube. We have a Windows Weekly channel there. The nice thing about that, besides it making it easy to watch, is you can share clips from it you can actually jump to a part of the video and share it with somebody, and everybody can watch YouTube. So that's kind of a good way to tell people about the show. We appreciate it when you do that. But for somebody who watches every week or listens every week, probably the best way to get it is subscribe. Now, if you're a Club Twit member, you'll have a unique URL just for you. That's the ad-free version. Everybody else put just search, go to your favorite podcast client and search for Windows Weekly, and you'll see it right there. You have a choice of audio or video or both. Actually, if you search for Twit, you'll find that and all the other shows, something like 15 other shows that we do, all of which are subscribable. If you want to comment on this show, club members, of course, can do that in the Discord. There's a kind of mini forum for all the shows in the Discord. But everybody, it's open to the public, can go to our forums at twit.community. I don't mention them enough, and I think it's a great way. And it's the only really way that you can directly comment on the shows. I read those comments, and we appreciate those, positive and negative. You can also participate in our Mastodon instance if you're a fan of the Fediverse. That's at twit.social. Both of those are open to Twit listeners. So when you sign up, you won't get I have to approve it because there's a lot of spam and bots out there. I finally figured out.
I saw your post about this.
I finally figured out how that happened. So there is an organization called IFTAS that looks for disinformation on social networks. Mm-hmm. They sent me notifications a couple of days ago that there were like a dozen Russian bot accounts on twit.social. And I thought, well, I have to approve all accounts. I couldn't figure out how they got in. And then I looked at their application and they were invited by somebody. So that was a little loophole where you could invite somebody to join. Okay. And then I wouldn't have get to approve.
I'm sorry about the Russian bot thing. I'm not really good at social
media.
Don't
invite Russian bots. Well, I turned off invitations. Yeah. So that ain't going to happen anymore. You will have to, you can't get in via invitation. You have to just go, I'm inviting you, twit.social. All you have to do is say, I listen to Windows Weekly or just as you mentioned,
the bots are like vampires. They need to be invited in.
That's
and
right.
Then they can get in.
By Waterloo says, I only invited him for the free vodka. They were nasty too. I mean, the stuff they were posting, it wasn't nasty. It was disinformation. It was real propaganda. It was actually kind of interesting. And I thank you, IFTAS, for catching them. And I think I've purged them all. At least I've turned off the invite capability. It was Julie invited them all. Thank you, Julie. Was also a bot.
Julie was
Julie was a disinformation bot as well. Gotcha. So somehow she got in. I must have overlooked it.
Well, people sometimes they can masquerade as a person and they lurk around for a little while. Everything's fine, and then
all you have to do is say, "I listen to Twit." I'm not like vetting everybody, but
you're not doing a background check on every single person.
But most spam bots don't. Even though it says when you sign up, why do you want to join? They don't ever enter anything in that field. All we'd have to say is, "I like Twit," and they'd be in. Right. So,
well, now that you give them the recipe for getting in.
Well, I don't think the bots listen to Windows Weekly either.
Right.
Anyway, I'm hoping. But we would love to have you in the discourse, the Discord, if you're a club member, the discourse, if you're not, that's at twit.community, and the Mastodon at twit.social. We pay for them. I moderate them. I keep an eye on them, and I keep forgetting to mention them. So we'd love to have you in there. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Richard. Have a great week. Safe travels. Yep. We'll see you all right back here next Wednesday for Windows Week. Bye-bye.